What's going on, family? How y'all doing? Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Mr. M. White, Trail Smooth, Willie, Real Dope, Hate Me Myself, Lapeef JL. Welcome to King Talk. What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What it do?
Excellent thing. Just smashed that red snapper. That shit was cracking.
That was a big ass fish.
That shit was huge. I ate that whole thing, Joe. That shit.
Your red snapper be jumping, yo.
Man.
Red snapper, yo.
And y'all guys had a whole bunch of pause moments there.
Oh yeah, I let it slide.
And White said,
where was the pause at?
like, and White said he ate the whole thing. He said he just smashed that red snapper.
Didn't they used to call it nappy dugout back in the day? So that even if we that's still, you feel.
Willie talking about the red snapper is good, and oh no, man. Anyhow, man, I'm just fucking around, y'all. Good to see you guys, man. Happy Tuesday. Damn, July coming quick, ain't it? Let's see what we got in the chat. We got Dale Matthews in the chat. Marcus Williams, Will, picking and choosing in the chat as well. We got Brano, Daniel, Berry Sports, Erica, hit the light. Aaron says salute to the panel. Dory G, our very own. Clout John says, what's up, chat? John, I seen the link, Clout. You want to pop up? What else we got? Champ Talk Reactions. Also a member. Shout out to you. Brando was a member as well. We got Ali. How is bisexual women who only dates white men, even know what other men are doing? We're gonna get into it, man. This is the topic. Yes, this is the topic, man. It's trending topic, so we're gonna get into it. Mrs. Hink is in the house. What's going on, ma'am? How you doing? Yeah, as you guys come in, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. What's going on, Jamie? If you are catching this on the replay, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe as well. You guys see in the thumbnail, Miss K. Michelle slams black men for making babies and not building homes. I broke this clip up into 2 parts. We got a great panel, so we're going to get their thoughts. And White, that's you echoing like that. So I'm going to go ahead and run this first clip, and we're going to get into it. Y'all ready? All right, here we go.
I think it's happening with women right now. Can we be honest about what women are dealing with?
Yeah.
Women are making more money than men.
Mm-hmm. That's challenging.
Yes,
that
women.
challenges the
if you're
normalcy.
gonna bring me hell, and I can pay my own bills, it's not worth it. Women are going through this whole different thing of, you know what it is. Like, I see my parents who've been together forever. I get to witness a traditional, old school type of love.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, what we're witnessing city girls, we're witnessing this and that, and it's like the genders are doing this.
Clashing.
And it's like a hot topic and this and that. Yeah, it's cute, it's a hot topic, but it is really destroying families. When I go, okay, think about this. Being in Nashville all this time, being in Atlanta all this time and then going to Nashville where it's predominantly white. One, they go home at 5 and 6 o'clock when they're producing because they go home to their families. Being a country singer, if you are a singer in country music, you're a man. If you are not married, it is not respected. Family is respected in country music in that space. But in our space, we are singing about side chicks. We are glorifying a lot of women. That's not what happens in Nashville. You can't call a woman a bitch or hoe in Nashville because they'll never even listen to your music. What? And your professional career will suffer. At what point in the black community do our men create real homes? And even talking, just our first time talking, and you said you didn't even mean for that to happen. Life happens. I'm not here to judge life. I'm looking at a successful black man that has the ability to literally turn the narrative on black family, And my grandfather, I watched my uncles and everything. My whole family, they're married. I'm not the girl who didn't see what a man creating a black family is supposed to be. So I'm asking right now, black men, I got to my black men to really step up for black women and create families.
Yeah.
It's really not cool. Black men are attacking black women. And it's not a cool, they're not creating homes, they're creating babies everywhere. It's not cool. And I'm asking you, other successful black men, to be, you have to set an example as leads. The cute social media back and forth on black women. Black women are strong. Black women are where you come from, this and that. So there probably isn't any sympathy for you and just life happening, because there's so many other things around you going on that are not fair to black women. What is going on with the black family? We are consistently creating the cycle of kids who can't come home and see their daddy there. And they see their mama sad at night. At what point is the successful black man in this world going to step in and really create structure?
I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there, man. I do got a second part, but we're gonna see if we can go a little bit deeper into that topic right there. She said, at what point do our men create real homes? So I wanted to ask you guys, do black men build homes, in your opinion?
Am I black?
Yeah, you black.
Did I build a home?
Yeah, you built a home.
Okay, so she tweaking. Hey, it's a song called "Fuck by a Country Boy," right? By Wheeler Walker Jr. Let me read the lyrics to you, because she say you can't do what? They don't call women names and stuff, right? I'd be sick of people trying to just paint shit on black people. Like everybody else perfect, and we just do all of this negative shit. And let's point out and highlight something that, anyway, verse 1. Hey, bitch, I'm from New York City with them fake California titties. I know you waxed and vaxxed, but have you ever been smashed to some old school Conway Twitty? I know you got your man with the spray on tan, but you need to get your ass down south. Trade that dick up in the penthouse for some cock down in the hen house. That shit sound like it's kind of bars, but like that kill everything she just said in the first 3 minutes. Have you ever been fucked by a country boy, ram by a redneck, spread by inbred, who kind of got your daddy's voice? If you never been licked by a hick with a hillbilly dick or got rushed on your snaps from some trailer trash, then girl, you need to get fucked by a country boy. So head on down to Tennessee where the men chug beer and crush pussy. Fly down the map and let me show your flap some home-cooked southern fried meat. We'll fuck you like family. Have you ever been fucked by a country boy? Ram.
We get it. We get it, Marcus.
So check this out. Surely she did give some bad information, right? Definitely pushing the narrative for sure. She also says something whack about black women earning more than men. That's also not true. However, right, I just Pew Research got the numbers, no? So the most recent that they could find is disturbing, right? So and I don't think it represents most of us here on the panel, right? However, it represents most of us, unfortunately, right? So if we look at the data, if you were to ask what were like for lifetime, what percentage of black men would have a child out of wedlock, and it's nearly 70%, right? If you go to Hispanic, it's in the 50s. If you go to whites, it's under 30%, and Asians are barely over 10%. So there's definitely some work to be done. I commend the men who do it, and You know, if it don't apply, let it fly. But collectively, we should change the culture, in my opinion. Now, even with so we have to do better, right? As far as that's concerned. Now, here's another part to that, right? Because it's not just us. Less men are deciding to get married. More men are opting out of paper marriages. So that would also skew the research just a bit, right? Because a lot of men now see that the juice ain't worth the squeeze, and they're terrified to get married because you're dwindling half your assets in the air in your life, and you not being able to see the child. So there's a multitude of reasons why men won't be able to won't be willing to get a paper marriage, because it's just not practical as it stands right now, the way that the court system is and everything else. So I understand it. So you have to have a very special bond with that woman, and even if then, it's still a risk, right? So I could see why that's happening. However, the point that I think we should focus on the most is the men who are having reckless sex out here and not deciding to. If to me, I wouldn't want to give birth to a child with a woman that I don't have a plan on staying with, at least until that child is of age. I think at that part we could at least work on that part of it, right? And a good portion of us are just doing our thing. Some of us don't want to get married. Some of us are building families, getting married, taking care, covering our families, right? So it ain't. We don't have to speak to that. But we have to speak to what we have this issue with, and there's some things we have to work on, and I think we, as a collective, have to make better choices. I think that the men who are doing a thing have to start to speak to the youth, because there's a lot of young men out here growing up without fathers, without that opportunity, without that man that's actually able to guide them in life, right? And we have to understand. I know when I was in school, when I was younger, we were encouraged to go get the girl, go get the girl, go get the girl. That's the culture, right? And I'm not. We're not going to say that's right or wrong, but what we will say is that, which I don't like to say, is sometimes there is a right way to do the wrong thing. A lot of us are going out here unprotected. We're risking ourselves with disease and unwanted and ill-prepared pregnancies. So if we were going to tackle any part of this, I think we could start there.
All right, go ahead, real.
I think I have a few angles that I wanted to talk about with this. I guess the first one would be, I guess, K Michelle in general. Um I don't know her personally. All I know is the image and perception that I have of her. And I don't necessarily fully always believe in, attacking a messenger, but I think her answer, part of her answer is lies within her. Um I think she if you look at her alleged dating history, it's probably going to be a bunch of rappers and athletes and you know just guys who most likely never really vetted for character, because you can easily ask, well, you were raised around marriage, your dad was married, your mom was married, why aren't you married, right? What is the reason for that? In part, you can probably reasonably say, well, the guys that she's chosen and didn't really vet properly. Even to this day, I don't know if she's married or not. Actually, I can't even say if she's married or not. um but if she's not, it's like, why aren't you married? And I think she's an example of that. Like, what are you giving men to marry? Like, why do you think a man hasn't married you or doesn't want to marry you? That's one thing, but that's only if we're talking about the K Michelle aspect of it. But to some degree, um I don't want to I don't want to um I don't want to attack women, right? But at the same time, you they are they do have some responsibility when it comes to picking the men that are having the children. I always look at it like, you know, everything men do is for women. The vast majority of it is for women. The only reason we want money is for women. The only reason we sell drugs really is for women. Everything that we do is for women. And women are the one who choose. I couldn't pick my dad. It's only one person who can pick my dad. And that's my mom. So I think women like to avoid that aspect that, it's all of these men out here. Which one did you choose to give a child to? Because the value of vagina has drastically gone down. And why is that? Is that because of us? Is that because of men? Or is it because of the person who holds, the value in the vagina? Which is the woman that's made the value go down. But yeah, I think when it comes to like, the whole, and another thing is like a lot of women don't let their father see the kids. Don't let the father of the kids see their children. They going through this battle, legal battle and all this extra stuff. When that's one of the things, like how about you give him to his dad? That's part of the reasons that our community is where it's at, because you're trying to raise a man. Let your son see his father. So I'll land there.
All right, go ahead, Hank.
Yeah, it's crazy. I watched that video earlier today. And she said a lot, you know what I'm saying? She said a lot. It's kind of crazy that she's pushing for these women to date white. But unfortunately for her, guess what? White boys they create broken homes too. So it's not a race thing for sure. It's just what it is. For now, whatever reasons why the home is broken, who knows? You know what I'm saying? One night stands, cause them broken homes. A woman who's not tolerable, who's argumentative, nasty, and just got a bad attitude and just run a man away from him. Don't have nothing to do with him. Create broken homes. You was married to the woman at one time, but it just didn't work out between y'all. That causes broken homes. So putting the onus all on the men is crazy. Women, you got to have certain expectations, right? So if you want to create homes for your children, don't have a children that's not your husband. That'll kill all that. Every time you lay down and take a dick to your vagina, you taking on chance of getting married. Well, require the man to put a condom on. If you gonna continue to have sex, premarital sex, whatever you want to call it, require him to put a condom on. And if he doesn't get none that night. Tell him to take his ass home, send him home with a bottle of Jergens, and call it a night. But to try to put all this on the man, you want the man to fix his home. But we can't do it by ourselves. It takes a party or two. So we both are equally responsible for this. So what are you going to do? Are you going to have your expectations high? Or are you going to continue to blow them and take him chances and roll the dice for this man's going to stick around? Look, man, you met him in the club. What do you think he's going to happen? You think he's going to be loyal to you? No. He's going to fucking get up and move on to the next one and to the next one. Because you met a man who probably ain't about shit. That shit turned you on and got your nipples hard. So you was good with it until you wasn't. I'll leave it there.
Go ahead, M. White.
Speaking of nipples, I just was looking up pictures of K. Michelle, and she definitely on there nude to them.
She got
letting
some
it
naked videos and stuff running around, and
naked. Her nipples is actually nice though. Her body actually looks good. I can't take that from her.
Yeah, like at least at minimum, I would hope that she understands that that's not something that men strive to marry. So that might, because a lot of what she said came from trauma. It didn't come like she came to tears because something really touched her when she was talking. So a lot of what she said came from trauma, and it's probably due to partly her situation and what she's going through. And I just wanted to understand that, like, sometimes we got to look inward. We always got to look inward to find answers sometimes. So I don't know. A lot of the things that I know that I've seen of her is like, this may be why men haven't taken you serious. Like, are you crying for women like you to be married, or are you crying for other women to be married, and are you okay with not being married and women like you never being married? You know, like, is that what she's, you know, she's going about? I don't know.
Do we feel like we're killing the messenger tonight, though?
No,
she's a horrible example, right? She's a horrible example, right? But unless you believe she represents most black women, then no. But if you don't, then are we killing the messenger, right? Because I mean, he posed a question, and a lot of people, I think sometimes we do this with when like women ask these questions sometimes, and we like, well, damn, y'all gonna blame the men. I'm trying not to turn it on it, because we definitely know there's definitely some things about women that's jacked up and non-marriage women and all of that. But I'm just saying, what could we do about it to rectify it?
Trev, I generally agree with you, but she spouted divestiture rhetoric, and I just
you couldn't let it slide. I got you.
Yeah, like, that's my stance on that.
Trev, one thing, I think she's confused, because one minute she's out there lesbianing up for a moment. You know, she had a lesbian phase in her life. So now am I supposed to take it serious? You came from a two-bedroom home family. I mean, a two-parent home family, but you didn't heed the words that your parents instilled in you at all. It's not one time, because now you had this child out of wedlock. He's 21, 22-year-old son now. So what lessons did you learn from your own family? So did your family fail you, or did you fail the family? Which one is it? You know what I'm saying? So now if you feel like you got dog walked by the brothers, oh, I guess these white boys gonna do me right. Well, guess what? She had a white dude that left her ass too. He won't have no more to do with her. So man, you got to look in the mirror now. You need some self-reflection.
Hank, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. But it still begs the question, are we killing the messenger? Do we feel like this is a real problem, in other words? Do we feel like it's a real problem? And also, do you feel like it's something that we could do anything about?
Well, what I said that. Men, we need to be make sure we protecting ourselves. If you're going to go in there unmarried, and women need to be requiring them to wear condoms, men need to be responsible enough to protect themselves, because you got women like this who are just out there with anybody and everybody. Like I said, she went with a woman, no telling what STD she might have got from that woman. You went with a white dude, you decided to go outside, so now you could have probably got STD from him. So she's been all over the place with it. So if that's the case, she need to make sure she's protecting herself and live by what she's saying. Don't look. I can't sit there and tell you to do one thing and I live another. Now I'm a hypocrite. So yeah, I need to judge the messenger if I'm living like that. Now I do agree that as brothers, we need to step up more and do what we can and make sure we are not out here just making seeds. I said that about Cam. I said it about Nick Cannon. I don't believe in making all these goddamn kids knowing you can't afford to take care of them, knowing you're not making sure you spend quality time with your kids. I don't believe in that shit. That shit's crazy to me. So for sure, I'm all for men taking care of their business and take care of their responsibility. But at the same time, ladies, you got to require these motherfuckers to marry you. If they're not willing to marry you, why are you giving that ass up? But since you want to do that, make sure he wears protection. Make sure he's not going in there naked head. Make sure he's doing things he can, so you don't have these getting pregnant and having a man run out on you if that's the situation.
All right, so Trev, in all seriousness, I 100% agree that not creating a solid nuclear family is an issue. All right, okay, so if that's her point, I 100% agree. My issue with the person is coming from is you can't do everything to some of the stuff Hank was saying to be completely opposite of that, and then go point the finger to people. Because when she pointed at black man, I feel like she pointed at me. I feel like I did the shit how it was supposed to be done. So I can't see myself apologizing and saying, yeah, I'm going to do better when I did it right and you did it wrong. You're not about to sit here and point at me or point at other men.
I get that part of it.
Trev, so I think that I don't think this is attacking the messenger at all, right? I think that K. Michelle represents not only herself as a human individual, she represents a lot of women. The same way that I got kids out of wedlock. I represent a lot of men. So if I was in K. Michelle's position and I was criticizing certain things about our culture, people have a right to come to me for answers. Like, yo, why did you say this? And what is your perspective? And, you know, just kind of, they have a right to criticize me. And then I'm going to give my response back. And, you know, depending on who I am. But she is not just herself. She represents more than just herself. And I think the answer lies with, like, the answer lies within me. The answer lies within her. Like, why are we in these positions? You know, why are you in this position where you feel like men have done you wrong and that they should have done something else? They should have married you, you know, or whatever, you know? I think you're just asking like, yo, why y'all like this? And it's like, the answer's within you. Look deep, look inside.
So do you think in K Michelle's, not just K Michelle, but in like most women that find themselves in a situation, do you think they're choosing wrong, or do you think that like we as men, we just keep giving them the wrong men to choose from?
They're choosing wrong. I think that the world is comprised of the world is comprised of a bunch of men, and I don't think most of us are supposed to be qualified. I think that it's a woman's job, a female of any species, of any type of animal. It's just a woman's job to choose who's qualified. Okay, you get the mate. Y'all niggas don't. You know, like, you the one. You're worthy to carry on your bloodline. You know, that's what we want more of. We want more of you. I think that's always been the female's job. She like so. I don't know. I don't think everybody. I don't think every man. Like, we got this idea that the world is supposed to be perfect. And the world is supposed to be safe and all these other sides. The world is supposed to be dangerous, right? It's supposed to be dangerous. It's been dangerous much longer than it's been safe. And you know, a lot of men are supposed to be bad men. They're supposed to not be top tier men. It just is what it is. So you have to sift through that and find the ones who are.
All right, let me go ahead and get Willie and Will in there. Go ahead, Willie. What are your thoughts about what's been discussed already?
Which question are we talking about? You talking about what K Michelle said, or do I think men are choosing wrong?
You can answer both of them.
I don't take anything K Michelle says serious. I don't respect any opinion that she has that she doesn't also embody herself. I would listen to K Michelle tell me about how to get a record deal or how to sing or hit a high note, but anything outside of that, anything she says is in one ear out the other. I don't listen to stupid shit. So,
hold on, before you answer the next one now, is there any truth to what she said?
Well, it's not true that black women make more money than black men. That's not true. I watched that clip, that entire show. One discernment or thing she did say was that there's a difference between, you know, building a family and building a home. And I agree with that. I think that a lot of guys, you know, will create kids and, you know, can create a family, create a home, but building a family for that child, I think is something that I don't think those things are the same, but I do think that there's no more blame on one side or the other as it comes to that, because it takes two people to build a family. So, but and then as far as women choosing wrong, yeah, I think that K Michelle's life, her dating choices, and the majority of people, the majority of people in the comments, like, you know, they identify with her. That's why there's so much support for the shit that she's saying, because, you know, they see themselves as, you know, less important, less attractive K Michelle's. They made the same decisions, they had the same outcomes, and, you know, now they're not going to. We can't sit here and be like, oh, well, yeah, they're doing this, that, and the third, because they will be talking about themselves.
All right, go ahead, Will.
What's up, fellas? Long time no speak. Hey, real dope. I got a bone to pick with you, sir. We gonna get into that later. What up, Willie? What up, Hill? Marcus? JR? Tread? What's up with you brothers, man? Hey, you know, I like listening to you brothers at times, but you know, I'm usually a little disappointed in some of the stuff y'all say in regards to these topics, because I think y'all like to put y'all white gloves on. Especially real dope. He love putting his white gloves on. He don't never like getting his hands dirty. He don't wanna harm nobody. He don't want his fingerprints left on nothing. So and Marcus be walking that little fine line too sometimes. Come on, my G. You know what I'm saying? Hit him in the Abdullah Oblongata. Come on, Marcus. So look, gentlemen, I disagree with my man Willie. Rarely do I disagree with him, but I disagree with my man Willie. I love K. Michelle's position. I'm happy for her. The more she cry, the happier my heart smiles. Because K. Michelle said that, I mean, I like to crucify people on their own verbiage. She said, we make our own money. We make more money than men. So if the situation for them is not optimal, if it's not 100% beneficial to them, why engage? As if it doesn't work when the tables turn, right? So if a man has what Cam Newton has, Cam Newton is gonna call the shots like he do. Women gonna have to acquiesce to his program like they do, or they get left. It is what it is. If men interact with women sexually without her consent, that's a crime. All of these women are proactively willing participants in these activities. If you are a woman and you want a home, and I don't know why y'all consider marriage a home, because let's keep it real. All these women who get married leave their husbands anyway. What are we talking about? Look, I get slandered on these comments by losing ass hoes. Yes, I said it, losing ass hoes. They slander me all day long for being divorced and now having kids with my new woman. And they say I'm creating broken homes, but my woman doesn't work. Me and her was talking today about living a soft life, and I'm trying to really dive into that, figure that out, because I don't understand that. And I know that's a topic for another time, but my woman lives with me. If I had it my way, all my children would live with me. My 2 children I have by my woman, they live with me, but yet my home is broken because we're not legally married. When you got women who leave their husbands all the time for the pursuit of happiness, and that's not considered creating a broken home. I laugh at Kate Michelle. I laugh right in her damn face if I was Cam Newton when she started crying. Like, really? Really? You telling me that if you wanted a husband, you couldn't get one? Then don't that say something about you? Why aren't these men proposing to you? You got the fake titties, you got the fake booty, you got the millions, you got the singing career, you got the fame, everything you strive for in life. Why couldn't that produce a committed man? But you got a chick that work at Waffle House that can get a man. He'll commit to her. Well, you got chicks with no teeth. You got fat women, stereotypical ugly women, uneducated women, getting married all the time. Trailer park women, getting married all the time. So I just don't understand why y'all being so gentle with these damn booger wolves, these damn hyenas. Now my man Hink ain't being gentle with them. Hink calling it, he calling a spade a spade. Hink, I appreciate you, bro. I sent my ballot in. Hopefully they put you on the ballot box for the president of next election. I think your old ass deserve to be president next go round. Thank you, sir. But no, man, I'm sick of my brothers like real dope, coming in here smiling, being all nice, having his, keeping his decibels at a reasonable level, not really cutting anybody off, being mild mannered and everything. And then Marcus being all nice, man. If y'all don't shut y'all asses up, and Marcus, I appreciate you reading those lyrics, but let's keep it real. This is the last. I'll land with this. She was right when she talked about the lyrics, bro. Don't find a one-off scenario. It is a couple of dudes in country genre that go ham like that. But dude, in general, bro, that's us. We get all the trophies. We get the first place trophy, the second place trophy, the third place trophy. We get the consolation prize trophies, bro, the participation bro, that's us. Let's own it. Let's stop running.
I ain't never heard a rapper say I'm gonna fuck you like you part of my family. I ain't never ever heard that shit in a rap song.
So, but how many country dudes do you hear say I'm gonna kill you, your mama, and your daddy? How often does that happen?
Oh, they got them songs too. That's
no,
what
how often does it happen, Marcus? How often does it happen, Marcus?
I don't think we listen to enough country music to actually know the culture.
So we acting like one song here and there is defining a genre of music. No, bro, our music is about sex, murder, and money and stunting.
That's true. That's true.
So let's just, come on, let's not deflect.
But a lot of this stuff be all right.
I get you, Marcus. Listen, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I think you majoring in the minor right now.
How many of us listen to country music here?
I listen to country music. I don't listen to it.
Would you call yourself a country fan? Like somebody who, like, you can name, like, if I ask you.
No. I don't listen to it like that, but I enjoy country music though. When I hear it, I don't turn it because it's country. I'll listen to it.
I think reasonably, we don't know country music well enough to actually even know if she confirm what she's talking about. Because when I think about like country culture, you do think about like it is a lot of women in the Daisy Dukes, and there is a lot of like degeneracy to some degree. Like if I watch True Blood and shows like that, which display that part of the culture. So I don't know if we listen to that side of country music or we just so used to listen to the bubblegum stuff on the radio.
Well, is it talking about? Let's just be real.
All right, hold on. Shout out to my man Dub Will. He say there's a genre of country music called outlaw country that focuses on that, similar to gangster rap, and there's rap that don't focus on that.
Okay, and is it mainstream? Do you hear it on the radio? Country music being derogatory, because you hear derogatory rap and R&B on the radio constantly. They may blurt it out as much as they want. We know what they're talking about. Do you hear that on mainstream hot top 100, top 40?
I don't think that anybody here or in the chats listen to country music, so they wouldn't know.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying though, Willie, they're still top 40, right? Top 40 is top 40. You hear that whether you want to hear it or not.
Most people are not listening to that. Anybody listening to the radio is listening to like maybe are they local radio station or XM radio, which is a satellite, and it's not the top 40 stations there. They got
top 40 most of the time don't be the ratchetest of the ratchet stuff. It
is our ratchetness though. When top 40 play in stores like Charlotte Russe, they play in like Forever 21. When you go into commercial stores, they play top 40. It plays at stadiums. You hear this music everywhere you go, right? Our music still has an element of braggadocious, stunting, murder type sexual content. It's still there.
Yeah, no, that's not what I was arguing. I'm saying that for as far as to compare it to country, I don't think anybody will have that ability because, again, there's not a lot of country songs in the top 40, even for that limited exposure. And then two, most of us, I would say, listen to Spotify or Apple Music when they're in their cars. And, we'll listen to a Rap Life playlist or our personal playlist, which is going to be based off of our taste that, the algorithm is put together for us. So I don't think that the majority of us or anyone in the chat can even speak to that intelligently.
Also,
I agree.
Also, one of the things we don't pay attention to the evolution of country music. So we have no idea how it's transitioning with artists like Shabuzi. I know he's black, but there are white artists also who, kind of are elevating what they do, and the lyrics are becoming a little bit different than they used to be. So I do think that we kind of got to be a little bit more tapped in to really know what they got going on. But
let's keep it real. I don't
disagree that our music is raunchy.
Well, you don't know. We're on a 45-year run. So let's keep it real. We've been talking about killing. We've been talking about killing our own people for 45 straight years in rap.
But country music has its own Adele. I mean, not Adele, but like Sexy Red. Her name is Tanner Adele. Like they have ratchet country music. I say, if anything, she's probably more like a city girl of the country scene, and she's super popular. And some of her songs are country versions of getting ran through in the summer and liking cowboy dick. So I mean, it's everywhere. It's not
just country too, Willie. Like we got to remember, pop is like that too. Remember Kesha? I don't know if y'all know about Kesha. She wild. She out of pocket.
Ain't she OD?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are y'all really doing this right now?
Now. we
know,
can be
bro,
honest.
we
Our music
can,
is super raunchy, and it's what we consume
yeah.
at the highest level.
Well, here's the problem though with Willie, Marcus, real dope. I know I've heard the country music that's raunchy and ratchet. I know it exists, but is it destroying the women in their community? Our music, it has destroyed our women. The music we put out as men and the music the women put out as well has destroyed our women. We've been the same type of guys since rap music has turned to gangster rap and whatever drill music, all this stuff. Black men for the most part, we're still pretty much still intact. Yeah. Our women have drastically changed.
Can I ask you a question, Will?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you believe that music is representative of the culture, or do you think that the culture is representative of the music?
I think the culture is representative of the music. Okay, I know so people like to say it the other way around, but no, the music influences the culture more than the culture influences the music.
Okay, because I would think it's the opposite, and I do think that when you listen to the music, you'll understand the culture. Like in the 90s, the music was the music. The music in the 90s came from the culture. You know, a lot of the songs were about love. It's about making love. A lot of the songs were about cheating, creeping around, things like that. But I think if you listen to the music, you'll understand the culture.
I disagree. I emphatically disagree, and I'm gonna prove it to you real quick. Watch this. So, rap music in the 90s, what was the primary thing to rap about?
Drugs.
I think it was a mix.
No, the primary thing. Okay, what do you mix of what? Drugs and what?
Partying, kicking it, beautiful women.
Sex.
No. Sex is always there. Sex is always there. But the thing that gangster rap was not about.
I would say drugs. Yeah.
Gangster rap was about drugs and killing people. Yeah. Now, is drugs indicative of our community as Black people? Are we just a drug infested community? Are we just a murderous people? No, sir. What it is a small group of people, i.e. NWA, for example. Let's say their life is reflective in their small ecosystem, which maybe, let's just say if it's 1 million Black people in California as a state, maybe 30,000 of them are living this rough life in the ghetto or whatever, where they gangbanging, because everybody in the hood ain't gangbanging. Everybody in South Central and Watts ain't selling drugs and gangbang. It's a very small few ruining for the majority of people. So those very small few people decide to take their experiences and put it on wax, and then it gets popularized and they commercialize it to make money. And now we want to act like it's indicative of our culture. I've never sold drugs a day in my life.
I disagree with that though.
Scarface, the movie did more.
I think that NWA was the culture, but so if you're, I'm from Philadelphia. If you're from Compton, right? Let's say you're from Compton, you may not. Let's say the small chance you're not a gangbanger, right? That's still your culture.
No, it's not.
Let me finish. Everything let's take DeMar DeRozan, for example, right? He was never a gangbanger. That's the culture he comes from. That's all he knows is everybody in his neighborhood. Everybody who said, nah, you go play basketball. Every time he walk out the door, that is the culture of where he comes from.
No, listen, real dope. When you say the culture represents, there's two ways of looking at culture. It's geographically and it's ethnically. Geographically, that may be their culture, because guess what? The Black people in New York don't act like the Black people in LA. Don't act like the Black people in Miami, and they damn sure don't act like the Black people in the Midwest or the Black people in the Northwest.
I follow you.
Right? So Black people as a whole get tagged with this is our culture, and it's not. I'm from Gary, Indiana, once the murder capital of the country. It's part of the metropolitan area of Chicago, Illinois, which Black people got a terrible reputation in Chicago. I was raised in Minneapolis. Once again, it was once the murder capital of the country.
Mhm.
These cities, Gary, Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, Omaha, Nebraska, people flocked from those cities and they moved to Minneapolis. Minneapolis was not that type of city, but people from those places came there and they brought their attitude and behavior to that city, and that city got marred with a bad reputation because of people who are not from that city. So now we're looking at the people in Minneapolis like, oh, they did say that. No, it's not the people from Minneapolis, the people who moved to Minneapolis. People in LA, bro, people tell if you're not from LA, bro, you'll go to LA and they'll handle you because you ain't from LA. But yet when white people see you, they don't know you a black dude from LA or not from LA, because we let these niggas from LA and these niggas from New York create this notion that this is what our culture is. Bro, our culture was men getting married, taking care of their families, working hard, protecting our communities. So the Black Panther Party ain't our culture. That ain't how we work. That's not, no, gangster rap is who we are. Why aren't we recognized as the Black Panther Party?
So Will, if you like, so are you deriving culture as what's commercially available?
No,
because I would argue that all those things exist inside of the ecosphere of the culture, but there's one portion that is highlighted and commercially produced. But that doesn't equate, like you said yourself, that the majority of people in these communities not gangbanging and selling drugs. But that is viewed outside the community as this is the entirety of that community.
Yeah, because it was commercialized, and rappers, the niggas you like, Marcus.
Yeah, I like
them hoe ass niggas that you like. They put a stain on us.
So my question is, do you view culture again through what's commercialized versus what actually exists? Because I know, like, I often had this conversation about, I grew up in a black community, I live in a black community, I stay around the black community. Majority of the people I come in contact with be good people. It is niggas that be on bullshit, but they are not the overwhelming majority of Black Americans or Black culture.
So of the
now
good
they
people,
do represent the majority on television. The roles that are played on television, the majority will represent the segment that you reference. The music will represent the most popular form. There's conscious rap. There's all type of movies that go into other forms of that. But the only thing that seems to be commercially available, that seems to be profitable, is an archetype that promotes that specific XYZ.
So let me ask you then. So I'm to answer your question, kind of both, right? Because what really is the culture, but what's commercialized becomes the reputation of the people, and the people get marred and said, this is your culture, when it's not. I mean, we some church going people. My whole life, every Black person I know for the most part was in church. Why wasn't that perceived as our culture?
I would argue it is.
No, that is a part of our culture.
How we can't be both.
Yes,
we can't be drug dealer, gang banging killers, and church people.
Yes, we can. What do you think? What do you think DMX did after all of his shows?
He the hell God. You talking about DMX? What?
He thanked God.
And he prayed.
He prayed.
He didn't go to church.
Wait. Are you telling me our okay? So let me ask y'all this real quick. What is our culture?
It's very nuanced.
No, it can't be very nuanced.
It is.
It can't be very nuanced.
I'm gonna tell you something, right?
Okay, but wait, hold on. What is white culture?
You said what is white culture?
Yeah,
that's too much. It's different aspects of white culture.
I think also different. Wait, no, because listen, gentlemen, if it's different aspects of white culture, that means this is culture, and they just happen to be white people. This is culture, they happen to be white people. This is culture, they happen to be white people. No. But that's not white culture. No, you can't whitewash it all and say that's white culture. No, these are different cultures of people who just happen to be white. It's not white culture.
No, that's not what it is. It's different. It's different aspects of white culture. So, for example, if you go to Kentucky, that white culture will be completely different than the white culture in LA.
So there's no white culture then, because white culture would have to be one thing. If it's 40 different things,
cultures aren't monoliths. They're not, because there's intersectionality that adds the layers. into a culture, and then you have subcultures and microcultures, like in black
different
culture.
tribes.
But they will be under an umbrella of a culture, though.
One of the subcultures in black
What
is
is Native American culture.
The other side is this ratchet shit, and then you have like people navigate between cultures, and then on top of that, cultures evolve over time. So,
gentlemen,
cultures aren't monoliths at all.
Gentlemen,
Like,
it is monolithic. Let me
it's
explain
impossible
to you.
for them to be that.
Let me explain to you.
What about Native? What about different? You don't believe in different tribes? What do you think Native American culture is?
It doesn't matter.
Sure,
Listen,
tribe had a culture.
No, they wouldn't say I'm Native American culture. They would say I'm Cherokee.
But
and
Native
they would say
American.
I'm this. They wouldn't say this is Native American culture. So look, Africa, right, is a continent. In Africa, there's different people groups from different countries who have different cultures. We can't call all of that African culture. No,
we literally do.
No.
And we're wrong.
No,
and we're wrong when we do that. We generalize these people. Okay, put it like this.
Africa's a continent. You have to compare us to Ghana because we're a country. We're not a continent.
Right. Listen to you missed what I said. I said in the continent of Africa, there's multiple countries that all have their own cultures.
Okay.
Right. So me as a black person, let's just make it geographically really quick. I'm from the Midwest. We got anybody? We got Trev is from the East Coast. Anybody West Coast up here? No? Okay, we got two. We got Midwest and we got East Coast. We're two different groups of people. The way we behave, the type of things, how we dress, how we eat, what we do. I mean, there's things, obviously, there's underlying things that we all do. You know, we like play spades or we barbecue, whatever the case may be. But the way East Coast cats are is nothing like the Midwest guys. We ain't the same.
So I would argue that Midwest, the West, it's based off migration patterns, so it's more similarities than differences. Because the people that ended up in Chicago came from Mississippi, Arkansas, and that down south migration. Those people, and the next migration went from Detroit and all these other places to California. Now the East Coast is an imported place, so the majority of the people on the East Coast may not come from the migration that came from down south.
And they adopted and they adopted or created a different culture. That's why they call niggas in the South country bumpkin. You country ass niggas, and they talk about them in a derogatory manner because they try to differentiate themselves because they don't want to be viewed the same.
Will, I mean, I'm about to kill your whole point, Will. So, for example,
a lot of them immigrated here.
Will, where you from?
I'm from Gary, Indiana.
Okay, I'm from Philly, right? Somebody from South Philly. I'm from South Philly. My culture is different than somebody from North Philly, right? We eat at different places. We if you ask us what's the best cheesesteak, I'm gonna have a different answer than them down there, right? We got different slang, different lingo. Now, you're saying that there can't be any subsets of cultures. Philadelphia has a culture.
I didn't say that.
That's
I
almost
definitely
like
said
the point that I hear you making is that we have a culture and then we have different subsets of.
There's a hierarchy, there's a hierarchy, and you can have these subcultures. Willie said there's subcultures, right? Yeah, a subculture is something underneath a culture. There can be a subculture, but they will identify with the same vertical culture. They were like, I identify with that. I'm a subculture of that.
I feel like what Will is saying. All right, I get it with the subsets. So, like, if you were to put white people under an umbrella, you would say, generally speaking, that's like we all do it. We generalize white people like that's white people shit. We do that. Like we figure like, okay, you can't dance. That's white people shit, right? Black people generally like fried chicken, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we generally like there's certain things that we do and certain things that they do. So I get it. So we could break it into subcultures, but you could just keep breaking it down into microcultures because 18th Ave don't work the way that 16th Ave, right? So it's like, and I'm not from 63rd. Like it changes, exactly. Like just from what block you want. So we could completely divide it, but still the umbrellas are saying, all right, this is white. This is white people here. This is black people.
Which is why my initial question was, do you view us how we view ourselves or through the lens of other people? And the reason I'm asking is because they're close to 60 million Black Americans. Out of that percentage, how many are actually in jail or outside killing people and selling drugs? Is that more than 51% or less than 50%?
And I told you, I think both matter, right? Because we are what we really are, but we're perceived by the loudest people in the room, the rappers, the entertainers. That's why Real Dope said that he thinks the culture is representative of the music. I mean, the music is representative of the culture. If
Of
that's
that
the case,
subculture. Yes.
Marcus, no, he didn't say subculture. He said of the culture. He said the music is representative of the culture. If the majority of us are not gang banging, selling drugs, and out here abusing women and buying mansions and chains and Bugattis and stunting on people, the music is not representative of the culture.
I completely disagree with that.
How
Because the music. So, for example, Meek Mill is a Philly rapper. Everything that he says he did not invent. That's all representative from where he comes from. So when you listen to a rapper from where you come from, most likely, if you identify with him, it's all representative of the environment that he came from.
Right, but Real Dope. Check this out. Is Philly the culture of black people?
No, so to a degree, but it's not the culture of all black people.
Yeah, so black people
It's
can,
a subset.
but we cannot say Philly is black culture because it's not.
It's a subset of black culture.
You are helping his argument. The umbrella is culture. Under that umbrella, you have jazz, you have soul, you have rap, you have hip hop, you have art, you have dance. That's all black culture.
But wait, hold on. That's not black culture.
That's under the umbrella of our culture.
But gentlemen, listen to me. If we go to Philly, to the roughest neighborhood in Philly, are we going to say that that's black culture?
It's a subset of black culture.
No, that's called poverty.
The roughest neighborhood of Philly, you can find in every city. You can find that in every city.
At you.
K and A different.
you gave him license to say it's not culture. When I threw the umbrella at him, he can't fight that. You understand?
But there's no need to fight it because I told y'all.
I told y'all 4 seconds of music, and I said that's black culture. Soul, hip hop, rhythm and blues. You could name jazz. That's black culture. We created that. That's under the auspices of black culture.
One of those, you would have modern dance, modern tap, modern ballet, hip hop dance.
And guess what? Under the umbrella of what? Black culture.
Which is what we're saying. It's part of that, but it is not. You can't isolate and say all black culture is
it's one dance. Thing because we're not a monolith. So
you can't do that.
And also, right? Every dance that might, for example, I know y'all, we all from different places. At some point, did we have a Baltimore club phase?
A what?
Baltimore club
music. Well, he talking about go-go. In Chicago, it was juking.
Yeah, we called it Baltimore club music. That's all we know.
Yeah.
We all
I knew that from DC, like Chuck Brown.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And at least in Philly, we had a phase where we was listening to that. Or like, for example, Jersey do the sexy walk. Do y'all dance?
We had like house music.
But a lot of different parts of black culture can also take from other parts of black culture.
Oh, yeah. I gotta get to these super chats, man. Make sure I pay the bills. Advanced Perception $5 says, I ain't listening to nothing K. Michelle is saying. Crying about the love and hip hop / bad girls culture she contributed to. Hold that L, sis. LD, also a member 499. Attack the point, not the messenger. Let's teach people. LD, also a member. At Hink, talk about the point, not the messenger. The OCPD coach 499. I could speak on country since I grew up with it. It is different, y'all. Jacqueline Rice, $10. I understand hip hop promotes bad habits, but the nuance we always miss is that there are certain subgenres within. Conscious hip hop has been growing. It gets overlooked when we have these convos. And lastly, BTK $2. With the effective media, do they set black culture? I want to thank everybody that's contributed. That's fine. Let me go ahead and play the second part of this video, man, and I'm gonna go to KP since he just arrived. So be ready, KP.
Men doing it every day. I get to witness the best of both worlds every day. Getting on stage singing R&B, being here in Atlanta, I get to sing R&B, but then I get to go to Nashville and be like, you mean you ain't staying out till 6 in the morning? You gonna go home to your family? You gonna write this song and leave at 5 and 6 because you gonna take care of your family and your wife? At what point do the successful black men build black families? We ain't gonna ever have a black family if y'all don't do it. We're never gonna have it. It's just not gonna happen. So if your mentality is, yes, things happen, and I'm not knocking you for that. I didn't come here for that. But at what point do you take that black woman? Do you be in a home and show your kids what it's like, you know? At what point do you take a grip to it, not make excuses for it or mantras and things like that? It is so unfair to black women who have been the strength and builders of so many things. And I know life happens. You can't be with somebody you don't want to be with or whatever, but my grandparents did it. My grandfather, 92, died when he was 92, my best friend. I never seen another type of man. That's why I've turned down 3 rings, because they wasn't like my grandpa. My grandfather raised 9 kids on his own because my grandmama died before I could even meet her. What point are our black men going to stop the bullshit, the social media shit and all of that, and build black homes? If we don't build black homes, we can't depend on white folk to build black homes. So when you see somebody like your significant other who clearly loves you, and it's all these black women rooting for her, rooting for you, they want you to build a black home. That's their anger. They don't know you. They can't judge you for anything else. They want you being who you are, being attractive, being successful. They want you to take hold and solidify and build a black home. That's not saying you're not taking care of the kids you have, because clearly you are, and you love your kids. Taking care of your kids and building a home is 2 different things. At what point are we gonna stop these back and forths? Oh, this type of woman don't say nothing to me about that. Well, guess what? You're just weak. Period. Like, you want a strong woman around you. And I'm sorry, like, black women have just, that we get copied from hair to body to everything. Black women are the most unloved individuals in America, but the ones who have built.
The most mimicked.
Most mimicked. Good or bad mimic, you know? But we looking to you. We looking to you. A successful black man, we are looking to you to change the narrative. And when you don't, it becomes, go on that show and tear his ass up.
I received that. And nothing but a white flag, because I have been guilty. But if we're going to have this conversation, how we need to have this conversation, just like you're holding me accountable.
Hold me accountable.
I need black women to hold themselves.
Okay, come on, let's go.
All right, KP. She says she's not attacking black men. She's begging them to do better. Why does the black accountability feel like betrayal to so many of us?
If you're using her to be a spokesperson for why black men are not cleaving to black women, she's a poor result. She's a poor candidate to have that discussion. You dated celebrities, you dated men that run through women left and right, you dated chasing superficial things, and you may have come to a point, breaching, not as far as Vivica Fox, but in the ball game where you're tired of getting dicked down and discarded. So now you're up on Cam's show, crying wolf tears because you couldn't find something that befits you, that wasn't superficial. Look at what you've done to yourself to fit in a certain archetype of artistry. Memphis T, you've had like a fling with Idris Elba and some other notable names within that industry. You've gotten the shitty end of the stick, but you have to be okay with the outcomes that you garnered with the behaviors and the people that you cleave to. The average man is just looking for a woman to love and show this hard work I'm willing to put into you and our relationship. She's not a representation of us looking for women because we have not done anything to women. Nowadays, men have to show their wares and get past superficial means and representations to find an actual woman that is for them. Most men are not buying in to let me give you everything and then hope that you won't destroy me or take half on your way out in 2 years. So she's crying wolf tears to ears that don't even want to hear him or eyes that don't want to see him. She's not a representation of the women that we know that just want a good man to love but can't get out of their own way. I'll drop it there.
Okay. She said she watched her grandfather and uncles lead their homes. Are we really victims of circumstance or just refusing to meet the standard?
Can you say that one more time? Or victim of circumstances or what?
Are we really victims of circumstance or just refusing to meet the standard?
We're definitely not victims of circumstance. That's a trope that we need to stop. A lot of us come from single parent households. It doesn't mean that your fate is not sealed because you don't know who your father is. It's going to be some challenges. Life doesn't, if you have your father, you still gonna have challenges. I mean, I don't know kids who just got a silver spoon in their mouth and a yellow brick road because they got both their parents at home. It's still difficult for them too. Kids still end up on drugs and girls still become hoes. It ain't look. K. Michelle is tripping because I wrote down a couple things she said. She said she turned down 3 rings. 3 rings. So that means 3 different men try to do what she's complaining about. Create this so-called home, right? But she didn't want them men. But it's funny that she was entertaining them for them to propose. Why were these men so invested in with you? Why were y'all so close where they thought that they can propose to you, where you will accept the proposal if these were men you didn't want to be married to? You know why? Very simple answer. For some reason, because of the likes of rap music and the likes of R&B music, and I'm not just completely blaming it on the music, but the music has drastically impacted our culture so much that our women love and feeling the man meat of dudes that they don't want to be with, dudes that they will not accept a commitment from. They constantly get into bed with these guys. Help me understand how if men would sleep with anything, that's what's been said. Oh, men should have more discipline. Okay, maybe that's true. But the narrative is not painted that women will sleep with anything. Women are selective in who they sleep with. They're only going to sleep with a guy that they're interested in. So why are you not accepting the proposals from the men who you are sleeping with? Can y'all explain that? Or y'all gonna put y'all white gloves on right now?
You gotta call her to explain that.
Nah, I mean,
hey, repeat what you said, Will.
The narrative is that men are dogs and they will sleep with anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the narrative, right? Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. That's the narrative.
The only people who say that are the anything.
Well, hold on, but check this out, because I've heard it from every type of woman. Women I have respect for, women I don't have respect for. I've heard it from every type of woman you could think of. But is that not the narrative, gentlemen? Are we all in agreement? The narrative is men will sleep with anything.
All right. Yeah, but
that's
Will,
not the narrative about women, right?
No, but Will, this is what we doing.
Here come the gloves.
You putting this a lot on the music, right?
No, I'm not. I'm putting it on people and their bad decision making and people who like to have fun. I said the music is a culprit, it's a problem, but we all know the difference between right and wrong.
I'm only saying that because you mentioned the hell of a lot. Like we had stopped talking, you brought it back up. So
I brought it up because I'm telling you how far our women used to walk in modesty. The majority of our women used to walk in modesty. Now, majority of our women feel the more they show.
So if not the music,
showing.
If not the music, then what would you say is the number one issue?
The number one issue is selfishness. People want their cake and eat it too. People want to do what they want to do with no accountability, no responsibility, no consequences.
Here's what I would blame it on, right? If I were going to say anything, pretty much feminism, right? Between the 60s and the 80s, and there was it's on record that there was an uptick of women having less responsible sex from that time to current day, right? So I think that was one of the driving forces for what we have right now, and it also created an environment where men are less. Our value is perceived to be less in many ways, simply because of our income. Women are more educated than they were in comparison to men now, and they are leveraging that.
Are you talking about today? Are you talking about feminism is what's impacting us today?
It was the catalyst,
right? But I'm saying,
and it's still prevalent today. Yes,
but feminism didn't have as strong of a hold on Black women in the 80s. This problem primarily started with Black women in the 70s and the 80s. Our parents are the culprits, are the people who ushered in these issues, bro. The most single moms
and grandparents.
It started with us. I mean, we're the kids of the single parent generation. So
the invention of birth control helped too.
You got to. So here's my question though, Trev. It didn't get answered, right? So men are perceived to sleep with anything, women aren't. So why are women constantly finding themselves in a bed with a man that they will not marry, or in a bed with a man that will not marry them?
Because it's very easy for a good portion of women to become emotionally attached to anything about a man. They could have 9 things wrong and 1 thing right, and they will cleave to that man in a lot of cases.
So
whatever it is her fix is, she could attach to that no matter how toxic the rest of that man is for her, and have babies with him and everything else. And that causes a great portion of our issues right now. That's part of it. We're talking about women.
I would argue that your point about feminism would still stick for what you're talking about, because sexual liberation was one of the byproducts of that, and that sexual liberation,
right,
for women in a sphere where they were able to have sex based off attraction, the way they viewed what men were doing and did their form of that. So you would be more in tune with your first argument that feminism would play a larger role.
But gentlemen,
I think
that feminism movement did not hit Black women early on. It was a white woman movement. Black women got on that gravy train real late. They was not part of that movement when it initially launched.
They jumped in pretty early.
No, they really early.
They jumped in pretty early. They jumped in pretty early.
Everything that these women say these days is feminism. When they say selfishness is feminism,
right. That's today, right? That's today.
Listen, my grandma.
Black women talking like this was Black women talking like this in the 80s. I don't need no man.
Listen, my grandmother was talking like that.
Yeah, some women will, right? But I'm talking about Black women as a whole, Clout. But Black women as a whole, like they are now, were they talking like this? When we were in high school, did we hear Black girls talking like this?
I think it's gotten progressively worse, but it doesn't take away what the catalyst was or what the
I think they were
part of it
talking that
is
way
today.
I think they were talking that way. I just don't think that we were able to identify it as what it was at the time. I think if you go back, I think now we're more aware of this than ever before. But I think if you were to go back in time and rewatch the content, movies, television shows, listen to music, and you go back in time and you listen to what they were singing about in the 80s, you'll see the feminism. It's there.
Yes, but I blame the music, right? Because Trev is saying feminism, but how did feminism penetrate us? Because they had no way to get to us. The music and movies and entertainment, that's the only way they can usher that message to the Black community, because we didn't have access to their rhetoric
and education.
That was part of it, though. That was all part of the plan. Right. So when I say feminism, I'm talking about a movement.
Trev, you're talking about the Pinky and Brain master plan. I get that. What I'm saying to you is this: that can be where it all started. But Black people, we associate our messaging came from music. It didn't come from white lesbian feminism women. It didn't come from that.
So I will argue that, I think this is where I disagree with you, Will. Right? A lot of those lesbian feminist women that you're saying it didn't come from were the school teachers.
No.
A lot of them were the teachers that were teaching in college. A lot of them were the elementary school teachers, and a lot of these ideals were taught to kids, maybe not directly, but just in the way they allowed them to go to the bathroom. The feminist teacher might have picked the girls over boys or whatever. The feminist teacher might have said, "Oh, that's okay, Susie, you can do what boys do." And the seed is sown. It might not be directly like formally educated feminism, but it is there.
I didn't say it. Listen, gentlemen.
It's even stronger than just the media. Everything Klaus said, I agree with, right? So you have you got to think about the times. We got the 60s and 70s, the free love, the anti-war, the pro-Black, and all of these rallies. They had intersectionality of those rallies with people who were trying to unite other oppressed groups. The women identify as an oppressed group via feminism and created that intersectionality between being pro-Black and pro-woman. And then
yes, gentlemen.
You move forward, and before the music was even a factor, the movies and television like Charlie's Angels, where they were showing versions of women being warriors, and they were having posters of women,
Wonder Woman.
We can do it, and we can fight in the army, and we are just as competent, capable. And
Susie picture with the arm.
Yes, gentlemen. Yeah. I know all of this, gentlemen. I'm not disagreeing with anything that y'all are saying, but what I'm telling you is this. That messaging has been there, right? Though that the effort been there, but they were not penetrating the Black community like that. Just like they weren't penetrating the Indian community, just like they weren't penetrating the Asian community. They just weren't. The effort was there, the messaging was there, the imagery was there, but it just wasn't having any impact.
Hey, I think Willie trying to get in there. Go ahead, Willie.
To answer your question, the majority of men will sleep with anything because they don't have the ability not to. The majority of men don't have the access to sex that the top echelon of us do. Women won't sleep with anything because they have more options to choose from. The problem is that that's where those options tend to die for them, that they have unlimited options for sex, but they have very few options for relationships. So they'll sleep with the men who look like the men they like, but the men they like will only fuck them and not marry them. So that's where the problem happens.
Right. So with that being said, I agree with you 100%. Now, if you're the group of people who want marriage and family, the responsibility is on you to deal with the people who will give you marriage and families, but they don't want those men. And then they want to cry. They want to cry and bitch and moan and act like it's us because they, like Marcus said, hey, I did it the right way. Gentlemen, I did it the right way. Sound like for what? Maybe Hink did it the right way. Clout did it the right way.
No. Y'all did it the way you thought was the right way.
No, the right way, according to them, is get married.
Yeah, that's what you
make families do marriage. That's what they're saying, right? So it's not our logic. I'm using their logic. Based on her logic, if a man proposes to a woman and make a family with her, that's the right way to do it.
She said no to multiple proposals anyway.
That don't count for nothing.
So that's the contradiction.
That's not even
that men are not doing it. She's saying that men are not doing it, but 3 men offered her that proposal, and she said no.
Nah. That goes to prove my point that these women can't get men that they want to like them or to marry them. Because if one of these white dudes was trying to marry K. Michelle, she wouldn't be on Cam Newton's show. She'd have her ass in the studio and at home cooking dinner by 6 p.m. like she said them dudes go home and do. The only time that you see women in this, especially older women, complaining about stuff like this is once they realize like the men that they want for themselves don't like them. Like, we'll fuck them because I mean, you know, vagina is vagina, but we're not marrying them. We're not committing to them. We're not treating them as anything more than sex because they're not our type. So like a lot of women, same thing with fellas, women don't date men that like them. They date the men that show them the ideas of the men they want. So K Michelle is a perfect example. Look at all the niggas that she's been with, all the dudes she's been with. She, you know, allegedly, you know, 3 of them proposed. She done had 3 abortions and she done had 3 miscarriages. Like, it's not a lot that she's saying that's wrong. It's just that she can't do it herself. Like, that shit is sell for her. So now she's complaining about black men not building homes because she wished a black man would have built one with her.
Well, see,
I think this. Look, most of these women don't hit. They in a whole phase for a long time, and they get in their 30s. Then all of a sudden they realize, yeah, they got the whole wake up call, and I can't keep doing this no more. Shit's getting old, getting worn out. I want to settle down. Man, you getting 30, 35. Nobody wants to settle down with you now. You're has been. When I could get me a 25, 26-year-old young woman, well, why would I want to deal with you? Man, you should have learned that early on in your life. You chose not to. So now you scrambling, trying to find somebody you're going to complain about the men doing it. No, what you really want, you don't really care about your sisters. If you really cared about your sisters, you would probably tell your sister to be trying to get married as early as possible. But that's not your message. You want to put the blame on the black man not marrying them. No, man, you just want to find a man that take you up and house you and be your sponsor and do all them other things for you. And no man is trying to invest in you no more. You know what they trying to do? Like Will said, they trying to fuck on you.
My bad. Go ahead.
That's all they trying to do. And I don't blame them. To use and abuse your ass and throw you back to the goddamn streets. You the local hoe. I guess you're a Nashville hoe now. So shout out to them boys in Nashville who are going to be knocking your back out every other night. Congratulations. You should have did early in your career when you was at the top of the peak. You should have got your man then. You chose not to because you was more worried about your career. Now you're a little older, got a little age on you, and them surgeries ain't doing you no goddamn good no more. And now you got to suffer. Now you want to blame every black man about making family. No, man. We not making family with you.
The closer women get,
with other women,
the closer women get to the wall, the harder they cling to this type of rhetoric about men needing to be responsible, be leaders, and be families. Because when she was young, popping and like super popular, this was the furthest thing from her mind. But now that she's not, and she doesn't have, you know, the youth, the beauty, the access to celebrity that she once had, now she's trying to find somebody. You know, she wants a guy to come save her from a lifetime of poor decisions and even poor pussy management.
Listen, hold on. It's not just about the men not wanting them.
You don't think she had beauty?
Huh?
I think that's an angle.
Like you mentioned something about she not have beauty. You don't think she had a beauty?
I don't think that she's nowhere near as fine as she was when she was young.
But
she had surgery.
I don't think it's about that though. I think we got to consider, like, it's not that the guys just don't want them, because there's guys that would marry them. You know what I mean? There's guys that would marry these women.
It's not the men they want.
The real problem is that we're not considering is that women, a lot of women are just not attracted to men that like them in general. So it's not that the guys just want to beat it down and just don't like them. No, it's just that the women only like guys that are not interested in them. That's just their type. Their type is niggas that don't like me, niggas that show me no interest. So women like that, which K Michelle is probably one of them, they're always going to feel like men are not stepping up because the only men that they see are the ones that were never interested in them to begin with. That's all they see. They don't see men that like them. Men that like them are cringe to them because they don't even like themselves. So a guy liking them, to them, is a turnoff because to them it's like, how could you like me? I don't like me. The only way I can feel like I'm something is if I get somebody that doesn't like me. You see what I'm saying? It's a
so with
mental
that. When you say like me, what do you mean? Like when men who like them, what do you mean? Like men who pursue them?
Because like there are men that would marry her, that would be with her. She just don't want them.
Exactly. She's
That's
not attracted
to them. Those men shouldn't even count. If you can't get the type of nigga that you want, why are you counting the ones you don't? Like that's.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter the type of guy. As long as the guy likes them, they're not gonna want him. It don't matter
If
what
these
type of
women
guy.
had a dude who checked all their boxes, and
Women could find a guy that checks all their boxes.
Definitely choose that man.
How many times on TikTok have we seen girls make a video? I found the perfect guy. He checked off all my boxes, and I just didn't. It just turned me off.
Yeah,
because a lot of women just don't like men that like them. They can get the exact type they want, right? But as soon as that type of man shows them reciprocated interest, it will turn them off. It just is what it is.
I think you can
even with that, right? So it seems like it's pretty much a consensus on the panel that these are the type of hoes you run through, right? But I would ask every man here, who believes that doesn't perpetuate the issue we're talking about in the first place?
It doesn't.
It doesn't at all.
Because you can't sleep. I'm glad you said that, because I was about to tell you, you cannot sleep with a woman who doesn't want to sleep with you. That's a crime. So
right,
how was a man?
We're not talking about
a man. Listen to this. How is a man perpetuating something that a woman is not also perpetuating? They will both be perpetuating that problem.
Yeah, I get that. I get that part of it. Right. So
you gonna only blame
that
one?
Includes. No, we can't only blame one, but fuck women for real. Like, we supposed to be the leaders and shit, right?
No, we're not.
Well, okay, cool. How about control? Wait. How about control what you can control?
You can't control
like so. And what I'm saying is, why would we champion smashing these broads, right? Like, why are we even giving them a time of day? Why aren't they just eliminated from the dating pool? If that's the case, yeah. I see it. So how does that help the problem that we're talking about, right? How does that help the problem that we're talking about when we're talking about creating families? Because that happens sometimes, and guess what? Somebody's going to hit raw because she got fatty or whatever, and guess what? She's going to be impregnated, and now we're here with the problem that we started with in the first place, and now we got children with fatherless homes.
There's 20% of men creating this problem that you're talking about, because majority of men can't get laid if they try to. So they not the problem. Men in general are not the problem. But it's not just that. So I went over some numbers from Pew Research earlier, right? And the numbers are pretty high for what black men are. So if you're talking about, it's close to 70% will actually have a child out of wedlock, whatever that looks like. It could. So I wouldn't say count the whole percentage, because some people will still be in the house with the child and all of that. But what I'm saying is that culturally, it's way higher than every other race, right? That's the problem that I'm having with this. So at some point, we got to be like, something's going wrong here. Something's going wrong. Like, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cloud.
This trickles back into the conversation of self-control, right? And I would agree with you on the self-control issue, that we're the leaders, man. So why are men not exercising self-control? Here's the problem with that. As we're men, we're also humans, and humans are also subject to nature, right? We're still animalistic to a degree. We're subject to nature. Men today are in an environment where they're constantly bombarded with sex by women, intentionally, for the purpose to throw men off their game so that they can be easily manipulated. So here's the problem. We tell men exercise self-control, but we don't exercise any self-control on how women express their sexuality. So the problem is, we're naturally responding to the abundance of sexuality that's being expressed nonstop everywhere we go, from Instagram, from advertising campaigns, from magazine covers, to video games, to movies, to walking in the street, in the mall, to the beach. There is no place that a man can go where he is quote unquote safe from a woman's sexual expression. There is none. So we keep telling men, basically what we're asking men to do when we say exercise self-control in a place where women are constantly expressing themselves sexually, what you're asking them to do is to be homosexuals, because that's the only way that they can.
Whoa, pause, bro.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are. But the only outcome of this self-control thing is the only way they can control themselves that much is to have no desire at all. Because at the end of the day, we're constantly bombarded with it. I can see a woman's figure, her shape, intimately, the crack of her ass, the shape of her nipples, anywhere. Literally, I could walk out my house and see it anywhere. But then the expectation is on me as a human man to somehow not respond to stimulus, which anybody who understands science understands that that's how nature works. There's stimulus and there's response. If you are showing your breasts, your areolas, the crack of your ass, the shape of your ass, the cut of your coochie in your tights, then men are going to be sexually stimulated by that and are going to be walking around on edge with sex either in the front or the back of their mind, because there's no way to avoid it. I could literally be trying my best to have a day and not think about sex at all. And it's literally hard to avoid. You can't.
Clau, I'm gonna challenge you on that.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna challenge you on that.
How you gonna
we're talking about self-control here, and he's talking about his environment. We're talking about self-control,
which I acknowledge. I acknowledge that I'm both a self-contained individual. I'm both an individual, but I'm also part of a group of humans. Meaning, I'm also subject to nature. So saying self-control, that's like saying, oh, it's freezing cold outside and not expecting you to put a coat on. Now, sure, you might be a monk. You might be able to be, you might be Wim Hof. You might be able to stand in freezing cold weather and you know, it's fine, no shirt on. But the average person is going to put on another layer. The average person, the average person is going to respond to stimulus. If I stab you, if I stab you, right, you're going to jump. Yeah, like the average person is going to, stimulus and response, bro. That's what it is.
Cloud,
you are giving extremely radical examples. I think
I'm about to
hold on.
I'm about to let you go. I'm about to let you go. I'm just telling Cloud.
Reasonable example besides being stabbed and bleeding out. I think we should get more reasonable examples besides being stabbed and bleeding out or about to catch hypothermia. More like, you know, let's say you go to a banquet and you're on a diet and you have a goal to lose weight and you can't put no food in your mouth and you go, oh, there's food around me. I gotta stick it in my mouth. No, you don't gotta stick the food in your mouth.
No, you don't. I agree with you. No. Hold on. See, this is an extreme. What you're doing is you're making an extreme example of what I'm saying. I'm explaining to you why. Because you're making it seem as though I'm saying you have to eat. I'm not saying that. But this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you're on a diet and you don't eat meat, but you were a meat eater and you love to eat meat, but you're on a no meat diet, whatever the case is, right? Now you walk around, Now you're walking around with a steak, whatever the case is, not meat, steak. Now you're walking around, or whatever the case is, and all your family members throwing steaks on the grill. Everywhere you go, there's steaks being thrown on the grill. You go to your normal spot where you get your tofu. Now we ain't got no tofu today. It's only steak. The steak half off today. Everywhere you go, the price of steak is down. They got new recipes for steak. It's just steak galore everywhere you go. Eventually, you're gonna have a cheat day. Even the strongest person, even the strongest vegans, eventually take a bite of chicken or eventually throw some eggs on something. Because when you're bombarded with something that we know peer pressure works. We know that and the thing is, it's funny how you're using this environment argument now, but there were previous conversations where I'm sure if it wasn't you, someone brought up the environment, how Black people are a product of the environments we're in, right? So it's like we all can understand the product of my environment argument all the time. But now all of a sudden, when I'm saying as a man, I'm a product of my environment as well, right? To an extent. I'm surrounded by women, and these women, most of them are half naked. Most of them, I can see the full shape of their naked body through their clothing on a day-to-day basis. Then on top of that, you have to add to it the makeup, which is literally designed to arouse men. The way the cheeks are brightened up, the way the eyes are arched, the way the lips are made to look wet. All of that is done specifically and was designed to arouse men. So all I'm doing when I'm around women and being aroused is being human. That's all I'm doing. If I put dog food in front of the dog is going to want the dog food because that's natural and normal. That's not a lack of self-control. Now, if I don't want my dog jumping all over my fucking furniture and tearing my fucking house up, guess what? I don't leave fucking dog food and treats everywhere. I put them in the cabinet. I lock away the shit. I lock away all the good shit. You know what I'm saying? And I distribute it. As needed to be distributed. That way the dog can learn self-control and can be trained. So self-control matters. I agree with you, but at the same time, environment matters. It has to be both.
Wait, real dope. Hold on, real dope. Because I wanted to tell you that. Listen, because I'm glad I let Clout go because Clout said it. I said I was going to use your own logic against you, real dope. Men are reflective of their culture. We have a culture where more, right? The more women feel more comfortable now with less clothes on than they do with more clothes on.
Yeah.
So if men are constantly being inundated, I ask people this question. Real dope, I'm gonna ask you this question. It's 9 of us up here. If we were all at the crib at your house at a barbecue, you invited us all over. Would you be okay? And I'm gonna make this a little personal. I ain't trying to be
No, I tell her put
disrespectful,
some
but
clothes
understand
on.
what I'm trying to say, right? Would you be comfortable with your woman coming downstairs if
Put some
she's
clothes on.
upstairs? No, just listen to me. Would you be comfortable with your woman coming downstairs in her bra and panties and sitting down on the couch and just conversing with us all?
Hell no.
But you will
Why?
be comfortable. You'll be okay with all of us sitting at the beach or at the pool with your woman coming with the same covering of material with a swimsuit.
Environment.
It'd be a little bit more, but yeah.
No. But listen, we as men, let's keep it real, gentlemen. It's some women listening to us. Let's keep it real. We get to see the same amount of skin, whether it's bra and panties or a swimsuit.
Yeah.
Our arousal gets triggered the same way. We are a lot of us look at our homeboys, women and wives, sisters and mamas, and get aroused, even their daughters, when they have swimsuits on.
What?
Don't act. Am I lying? So
let's assume he's talking
Where
about
you going with this?
I would assume he's speaking about.
You going to
I'm talking
The
about
fact that you even have to explain that is crazy.
Listen. You asked me where am I going with it? Real dope is trying to act like music is reflective of the culture. So if that logic exists, if that logic is true, the music is only being produced because that's what's happening in the real world. Well, the men's behavior would be the music. Their behavior is only reflective of the culture. So if you want their behavior to change, stop hammering and telling them, hey, change the music you're making. No, you can't tell the guys change your behavior. You got to tell the women you want a better product of men. You have to change your behavior. Your behavior is so degenerate now that men look at you and all they see is sex all day long. Because the moment we meet girls, the first time we see them, we're already thinking sex because they have themselves, like Klaus said, they present themselves in a way where they're communicating and arousing men. But if you ask women, they'll tell you sex is not even on their mind. They don't even realize that they're promoting sex when they don't even want to have sex. So like Klaus' example with the dog on the couch, right? They're not rationing out the treats when they should ration them out. They're giving you treats all day long and telling you don't think like this.
No, they realize that they do it because it gives them an advantage. They understand the impact it has on us. And
I'm trying to use real dope's language because
I don't want y'all to get confused.
He speaks delusion with these women sometimes.
So Trev asked a really good question, right? And just because I pushed back on clout, right? That doesn't mean that my position that I haven't even told y'all what my position was. I'm pushing back always. I'm always pushing back on logic so that we can really come up with the right answer. Because he asked a good question, and I don't want us to avoid it or go over here or go over there. Because I'm assuming everybody on this panel was a victim of it besides Kenny. Kenny probably not in the box, but I'm assuming that all of us have been like really out here like getting women, right? So we have to really ask ourselves these questions. And I'm not going to say that I'm not about to say that like I was getting women because they was half naked. When we was in high school, we wasn't, she half naked, let me get her. Like, no, like them girls had clothes on. It was cute. We wanted them. Like, that's the only, I just want us to kind of like really answer the question and think deeply about it.
What's the
besides
question?
Like, women got to put clothes. And I agree. Like, I think women got to put clothes on. I don't even like seeing the girls in the gym like that.
Man, you lost me when you said your woman can come downstairs. My woman don't come down. Why would we want our woman downstairs with a bunch of niggas? Like, take your ass upstairs.
He didn't say that.
We're not doing that at all. So the question, I'll ask the question again. It was basically what part of us smashing through women like this, right, who we consider to be 304s, what part of that is not perpetuating the problem that we're talking about initially, which is creating fatherless homes?
None of it, because there's no guarantee that we're gonna create a baby by fucking these hoes.
What are you talking about, Trev?
What?
let's take the fatherless home part.
Willie, what'd you say? I ain't hear you, bro.
I said the reason why that doesn't work is because just because we fucking hoes don't mean we gonna always make babies. A lot of these niggas don't hit these hoes raw.
Well,
they
shit.
pull out. You know what I'm saying? Or they had a girl get on birth control, or they find girls already got their tubes tied. So just because we fucking hoes, there is no guarantee that there's gonna be a child made.
No, we dig it, right.
No
Right.
man
Okay,
create
wait. I gotta get into. Hold on, picking and choosing. Hold on a second. Only cause I gotta get into this logic real quick.
Man, you already in. Go ahead.
Huh? No, I'm saying, bro. Willie, the only yo. Nah, look. So this is what we doing, right? So Willie, the problem I have with that is there's no guarantee, right? But there's no denying how children out of wedlock are created, right? It's from casual sex.
No,
so
it's because
there's no
women carry the term.
No. Look, come on, bro. Hold on. Why you let me get my shit off, bro. Hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. So we talking about that, but if we applied that to anything else, right? Any other logic, we wouldn't engage in such a way. If our money was on the line and there's no guarantee I'm gonna lose my shit,
it is
right. I could win, but I'm gonna gamble. You wouldn't do that.
Everybody does that. Anytime you stick your dick in somebody raw, you gambling your future and your life.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Is that responsible? If you apply that logic to anything else, would you wouldn't, I know you wouldn't gamble with your family. I know you wouldn't gamble with your bread like that. And that's what I'm saying. This is
yes, we do.
Of importance. You gamble with your family, you don't protect them by any means.
Bro,
every time you leave out the house, it's a gamble.
Oh,
you don't know what's outside in these streets. You don't know what's gonna happen to you. Anytime you go to work and you're saying you get into it with somebody, your boss takes this you don't like, and you argue, you get risking your job.
You don't deliberately put them in danger. If we're talking about inherent circumstances, that's fine. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about deliberately putting yourself in danger of a situation happening.
You are putting yourself in danger.
That's my whole point. Thank you. Exactly.
If you're doing that with your wife, Trev.
That danger part is cool, right? But we're talking about the fact that you said creating fatherless homes. Now, if you're talking about catching STDs or some shit, cool. You talking about creating fatherless homes. I can fuck 100 bitches and not get none of them married, and get none of them pregnant. Or I can fuck 10 and get all 10 of them married. But there is no guarantee that I am going to create a child with 10 or 100 of those women. Because it's not even really easy for a woman to get pregnant. You have to fuck her at a very specific time in her cycle, or in her womanly whatever. So it's not like it's very easy. She got a very small window. So the odds of me going to fuck 100 girls with the time when they are ovulating and get them pregnant is slim to fucking none. So that's why it doesn't make sense when you're asking us like, well, how are we perpetuating it? Now, if you say, well, hey, why are you men sleeping with women that you don't want to marry? Or why are you men accepting casual sex from women? That's a whole different conversation. But
that's different. That's different. I'm talking about the consequences of it, right? The consequences of it. Just the subject at hand, like what the topic was, off rip. That's the only thing I'm addressing, because I get everything you're saying. You made valid points, but with all of that, the only way that children are created, the only way that fatherless homes are created, it is because of that. You likely not going to get into an accident, but you wear your seatbelt most of the time. Most humans wear their seatbelt, like majority of the time, right? Wear the seatbelt all the time. So if you were having unprotected sex with randoms or women, it is reckless, no matter how you spin it. And 100%. I'm definitely not coming from no holier than thou, because I fucked the game up and did. Listen, I absolutely perpetuated the issue for years, right?
Your logic is like making us accept the fact or the premise that the only way you can create a fatherless home is by having casual sex, or that all casual sex, all marriage outside of, all sex outside of marriage is casual. That's not true. You can be in a committed relationship with someone.
No, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that's the product.
And then the second part that I have to reject is saying, okay, well, what happens if that's the only way you can create a fatherless home? No, a woman can get tired of her husband, file for divorce, and now it's a fatherless home. A woman can decide to walk away from her boyfriend and they were living together with. Now that's a fatherless home because she's in a home with no father for that child. So we can't just sit here and put all of the weight of this fatherless home idea on men, because we're not the only ones able to create that. Like,
Right,
No,
but
no.
I never did that. I
Listen,
never put all of
you
the
did.
weight on that. What
yes, you
I
did.
did do was
Yes, you
what I
did.
did was
You asked him
I
to
said
perpetuate
control
them.
what you can control. Control what you can control.
You
That's what
can't
we've been talking
control
about.
anything
You
but abstinence. That's
the only
all
thing
you
you
can
can
control.
control is the conception of a child. You can't control a woman having it.
No. Watch
So
this, Willie. Watch
in an
this, Trev.
ideal world, go ahead.
Trev, I was trying to ask you, bro. Listen, I'm just trying to tell you. No man can create a fatherless home. No man can do that. Women bring life into the world, and most women bring life into the world to a man when it's fatherless homes. Most women are bringing life into a world where the man is not even with her. Most of their relationship or whatever situation they have ends within the first trimester of her getting pregnant, and she still carries the baby to term. So that man, that relationship, a lot of times he don't even know he even got a woman pregnant. Women be sleeping with so many different dudes, they don't even necessarily know who the father of their child is.
And women get offended by
Right.
a dude trying to
I
pull a
get that.
condom out, especially when he one of them type of niggas. He's like, "What you trying to say? I
What?
got
So,
something." Like, I don't.
wait,
So
wait,
Nah, man.
wait.
I don't know what it's like to have a child out of wedlock. I was married to
Yo,
my son's mom. I don't
what?
know.
So
I
you
can't-
let me
I
ask
can't
you. You
speak
got
to that.
rejected because you pulled the jammy out. A woman rejected you
I didn't say
before.
anything like that. What I said was women get offended. I've seen women get offended when you reach for a condom too fast. Like, damn, what you trying to say? I got something? Like, no, bitch, I don't want to have a baby. Like, it happens because like the women, a lot of women don't want to fuck. They like fucking raw too. So when you
Nah,
pull
they
a condom
do,
out,
but
Wait. How'd you see it if it wasn't you?
the fuck are you talking about, Kenny?
Said you saw it actually happen. A man get turned down. I mean, by a woman saying, "What do you think? I got something." But you were asked, "What was it? You said no."
No, he said. So you're saying you were rejected? I wasn't rejected. I just said that the woman got offended. But then we can have a
Yeah, but you
conversation.
said
Men
you
be like, I've
actually
seen bitches
saw.
get mad because I pulled a
You
condom
will
out.
rewind this. You said you
He
actually
don't he didn't hear you properly.
I'm
Willie.
not finna talk to Kenny, man. This nigga's retarded. But again, like Trev, to your point, champ, what I'm simply saying is this. If you're saying that men can only create fatherless homes,
know what you
are
said.
1,000,000,000% inaccurate there.
I
Because
did
I
this
can give
too.
you 3 or 4 ways that a woman can create one too. A woman create a
all right.
fatherless
So
home by adopting a child, being a lesbian. A woman can divorce her husband. A woman can just leave her boyfriend.
He's
A
drawing
woman can take the
straws
kid
just to
from
make
her
a
husband and
point.
leave.
You know
So
what you
again,
said.
all right, all right. So how about this? What do you think that we can do to mitigate the risk? What do you think that we can do to resolve the issue that we're having right now? So
easy.
so
Stop
our
fighting.
next
Be
generation.
abstinent.
So our
Be
next
abstinent.
generation
Be
to be abstinent.
That's it. That's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can do.
Do you
Legalize
think that's
polygyny
do you
and
think
create
that's
a standard wage earning so people can support the families they have.
No. Even
Gotta
if you
clean
do
all
that, married rich men get divorced all the time because them women still leave
Make
them.
mandatory
The
marriages.
only thing you
No.
can do, Trav, and
It's
you
not
don't
have
want
sex.
to hear.
I
You
know.
don't
I
want
know
to
how
hear
you
this.
can do it. I know how you can do it. You can put Willa and Dope Daddy out in front of Planned Parenthood. That'll work.
Did he say Will or Willie?
Like,
Willie.
Okay.
how the fuck am I in this? My kids were conceived in wedlock, Kenny. And of the two of us, you have a weekly budget for pussy. So what are you talking about?
I don't do
Like,
that. You're a
what are you-
fat
bro?
man
All right,
that
bro.
sits in a beach chair.
All right, Kenny, you the type of nigga buy
I
a
know
prostitute
you're
to Palm
fat.
Beach,
I
bro.
was
Shut up.
looking at your arm right there. I see that shit like you know how to make sweetbreads. You got that shit there. I see you. I see you.
Hey, Trev, before they
That's
go
why
on
you
this
sit
tangent,
real low and keep your head like
Kenny,
this.
I think you low key
You're
like me,
fat.
bro, and I don't like dudes. Keep
That's
that
the only
feeling to
thing. We
yourself.
see your eyes and
Hey.
your nose like this. You fat
so
ass.
Trev, you're not gonna
Y'all
like this
get these
extreme
niggas.
answer, but the only way you can avoid it is through
Marcus,
abstinence.
come on the screen and laugh. You laughing too.
So Will, check this out. Do you feel like that's a viable option?
I mean, it depends on if you're trying to create prevention. Yes, but if you accept that there's a level of risk that's going to exist, and you are comfortable with that, I wouldn't use abstinence as a viable option.
I think that's a dodging accountability to like go to that radical.
Super.
Let me
See, here come the white gloves. Go ahead, real dope. Go ahead. Here come the white
This is the
gloves.
thing, like I said, I got kids and I'm not married to their moms, right? And if somebody say, well, how could you have fixed that? Well, yeah, I could have like vetted them more, you know.
No, you could have been more accountable.
Wait.
Stop dicking down.
No, here's the question,
they
real
can't
dope.
find viable relationships.
Now we got to probe a little bit, real dope.
Yeah.
You got kids by more than one woman?
Glasses.
3.
You got kids by 3 different women?
Yeah.
All right.
And you're not with either one of them?
No.
Okay, so who ended the relationships, you or them?
Me.
Okay, he's a unicorn. You left all 3 of your baby mamas?
Well, yeah. Well,
were you in relationships?
I was with 2 of them.
Were you in relationships or were you just smashing?
I was with 2 of them. We was a relationship.
Like a real relationship, or you just calling it
like
that?
live with me type shit. Like,
okay, so you and then you left them?
Yeah.
Would you say that you had a good sound judgment in dealing with women?
What I said, when you say, what do you mean good sound? Like that they were women I wanted to marry?
You kept making babies with women that you left.
Yeah, when you say good, you mean like was I dealing with women I wanted to marry?
No, were you dealing with women of moral character?
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I was.
You were leaving moral women?
I was the problem.
There we go,
bruh.
There we go.
He's been on that.
Right.
So how do you prevent the problem from going out there and doing what you're talking about, Trev?
You said, how do you prevent the problem?
Yeah, it's easy to talk to men who aren't the problem because they're not the ones doing it.
Right. And and that's the whole thing. We can't take it personally ever, right? Because that's not going to get us nowhere, right? But again, a lot of us, I've heard you mention it before, that we can't speak to situations like we are the average person, right? Maybe we're not, right? I've heard you say that before on a panel. So what I'm saying is that everybody.
Well, that's not what I said. Let me clean it up.
You ain't say you didn't have any type of sentiment like that?
I dumb my message down, and I don't talk like I'm talking to y'all. You talk like you talking to, like, you got to talk to the people who Real Dope was when he was doing what he was doing. He doesn't seem to be that guy anymore. But when he
and that's who we trying to speak to. So I mean, you get where I'm going with it, bro.
to them because you talk. Listen, when y'all talk, you talk to people like us right now, as if we're out here doing that. You got to get in the. You got to get.
No. That's that. Did anybody feel like I was coming at them with that? Like,
no,
I don't think so.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. You talk to us, right? Like your messaging penetrates. Well, pause. Your message gets through to us because we can understand it. But the people you need to be talking to, they don't understand your messaging.
I think you're not giving them enough credit. I think you're not giving them enough credit.
Real dope.
I think you're not giving the audience enough credit.
I ain't trying to start with you, but this is the pot calling the cold kettle black.
What this nigga talking about?
You ignore him, bro. What you about to
Yes, bro. Just pretend like it was Trev, dog. Just keep going.
I think that you're admonishing Trev, but you actually do what you're talking about.
Okay, so real dope. When you was out here and you had your babies by the 3 women that you were with, was there dudes like Trev, or did you hear messages like what Trev is talking about?
No, but I don't know if I was tapped into it.
You a damn lie. You know you've heard messaging talking about some man. Don't be just out here making babies with women. Don't you never heard none of that rhetoric?
I heard like the BET wrap it up type stuff.
So there was nobody in your hood saying, don't be out here just making babies with these chicks.
We had a whole discussion where he said, when in Rome, he did his Rome. The guys around him emulated that type of lifestyle, so he followed in suit.
I didn't say an old head. I just said, did you hear the messaging? Was nobody talking about, man, don't be out here. You got a bright future. Don't be out here just having babies with women. Don't, man, think about your future. Nobody was saying nothing like that.
It's not that I remember, but it's possible. I'm not saying that message wasn't saying. I'm just
what he would say is that message never resonated with him, whether it was said or not.
Right. And I'm telling you that the messaging never resonates with these little niggas because they don't want to hear it. Don't matter how you package it.
Hey, my dope daddy. How old are your children, if you don't mind me asking ages?
6, 6, and 7.
6, 6, and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 women pregnant around the same time and 1 a year later.
Yeah.
I mean, one and then
Yeah, I broke up with me and my my son's mom broke up when he was 1 month old, and then the next month I dealt with a girl that I used to deal with. Went back to somebody I knew.
Shot that up, bang bang. Okay, good. Next one.
And then I met a new woman, and I was in a relationship with her.
What are you, a Moor? You,
bro, you
like,
had
I
an
might be
epic
Muslim.
run of raw dogging, bro. That's
No.
that's crazy
Two
work.
of them I was in a relationship with.
Yeah,
you
I'm
was
just
in a
saying,
poly? You was in a poly?
No, I got out of one relationship and I met a girl that I thought
You know
we
how
was
close that is? 6 and 6.
What is this nigga probing you on this for?
Yeah, I don't know why you getting cross-examined.
I mean,
bro.
it is what it is. I had a baby. My son was born, and then I had my next daughter.
Okay, well, we actually had this discussion. He and I, as for when in Rome, he did as the Romans would do. He said he grew up around people that emulated that lifestyle, so he followed in suit. You weren't here. You were late for class. So now we were trying to figure out why he thought that was acceptable, and it also adds credence to the discussion that you're having. But you weren't here for the prior discussion that he and I had. Just to recap you quickly.
So I got an answer for that question on how you can talk directly to them, because this is what I heard when I was a shorty. A lot of men did say, "Damn, they was like, damn, no stuff don't work. You shooting blanks. Why you ain't got no kids yet?" When I was in my 30s, they like, you getting money, when you got women, why you don't got no kids? And my whole thing was, growing up, I remember waiting in the hall with my cousin for his daddy who never showed up. That shit broke his heart and coincidentally fucked me up too. My father was dead when I was growing up, and I was yearning and missing that. I feel like it's things that I could have been taught that would have helped me progress even further in life. And it's just things, discipline and things that was necessary that needed to exist that did not exist in the home that I was in, right? And I wouldn't condemn no other child to that because I know how that shit felt. So I waited until I was in a space in my life where I could sit still and make my life not about me. And prior to
and that's coming from a guy who didn't have a father, surrounded by drug dealers, surrounded by gangbangers, still somehow made the right decisions. What is we
Shout
talking
out to
about?
Dope Daddy. Takes care
What
of
are we
his
talking
kids.
about?
I believe you to the word, and you did what most
Marcus, why do we keep
Shout out to
acting
you.
like there's not a lot of boys out there just like you? I was in the same boat as you, but said my father wasn't dead. So I'm trying to figure out, why do we keep acting like boys gotta have their father or a positive male role model in their life for them not to make the wrong decisions? That's
It's
not
more
true.
conducive.
I think he did have positive male role models in his,
No,
in his
he
life.
did. That nigga had
Marcus, you
drug
didn't?
dealers and gangbangers in his life.
In my
let him answer
community,
that.
I had negative role models. When I went to play basketball, there was some positive, like the coaches, but I
Yeah,
wasn't as close to them as I
yeah,
was.
them
100%
niggas ain't as impactful as them niggas in his
I was
hood.
100% closer to the niggas that was hustling.
Well, Will,
But another thing is, I used to get the Rob report and think about buying islands and yachts and all type of just random rich nigga shit, and I could not do that with half my check getting split or paying child support. That you put what that Kanye verse? I know a nigga won the Super Bowl and pull off in a Hyundai. His baby mama car is bigger than yours. That shit was impactful. I heard that shit. I was like, oh hell no,
bro. I got married at 21 to my ex-wife, and we had our kids. Both my first two kids were in wedlock. I did it the right way to a woman I was with for 17 years.
Tried to do it the way you thought was right.
Okay, so real dope. See, y'all keep doing this shit. Real dope. What's the right way?
He's saying the right way.
No, y'all. Hold on.
No,
Let real dope ask. I want to hear. Real dope. What is the right way?
The only reason I say that, right?
No, real dope. Real dope. Real dope. I get it. The only reason why you say it, but before you say that, just tell me, what is the right way?
I can't say that there's necessarily a right way. I can't tell you that. I can't say that you should get married to the woman that you have a kid with, or you should just be in a long-term relationship. I can't. So
you don't have the right way.
But I do think it's most optimal. I think it's most optimal to be in a long-term relationship.
Do you have a right way? I get it. If you don't, you don't. Do you have a right way?
I'm not about to say no. I can't tell you the right way to do it.
Cool. So the right way is subjective, then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I say I did it the right way, then that's probably true.
We have to look at the outcome.
No. The outcome, it doesn't mean you. Okay, so for every person who gets the divorce, they did it the wrong way.
You got to look at the outcome.
That's the outcome is divorce.
Yeah, the outcome
Well,
is divorce.
something went wrong.
Hold on, Trev. Wait, Trev. No. Because if something goes wrong, that don't mean you didn't do it the right way.
You did
Just because something
right
goes.
way.
Okay, so what real dope is saying is the outcome determines if what you did was the right way.
Not
so
all.
if the outcome is divorce, that means you could not have done it the right way according to real dope.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's why I'm asking. I'm trying to get clarity.
Yeah, so you can do what you think is the right way to do something, and you did something wrong.
I understand that, but that's not what I'm asking you.
Okay.
You said the results determine if it was the right way. So let's say a guy and a girl gets married at 20.
Mm-hmm.
They have 4 kids. They get divorced at 50. Did they do it the right way or did they do it the wrong way?
That's crazy to get divorced. That's ridiculous. But
it happens, bro.
The
result is divorce.
I guess if the goal was to, it's all depending on their kids. If they raise them the way they wanted to raise them.
No. You said it depends on. You said it depends on the result, the outcome, right? So
it depends. So it depends on the outcome of their kids, not the outcome of their.
Wait. So now the outcome of their kids determined.
Falling in the trick
what
bag.
I'm saying, no. Hold on. So when you guys are pressing people about getting married, I'm assuming
I don't press anybody about.
I'm sorry, not you per se, but just people. I'm assuming that you're saying, hey, it's all about the children. You can do whatever you want after the children are raised, but it's more conducive for the children to be in a 2-parent home, and that's why we want people, because we want families.
Okay,
so I'm assuming that's why we're getting married, and that's the main purpose.
Cool. So listen, I said they got married at 20, they got divorced at 50, they had 4 kids. Chances are all these kids are adults, so they're not dependent on their parents to take care of them anymore. Yeah. That was a 30-year span. Did they do it the wrong way?
It all depends on the outcome of the children.
What do you mean when you say the outcome of the children? What do you mean?
If all four of the children are drug addicts, they did something wrong. Maybe they shouldn't have got married.
No.
Let me finish.
Wait.
Let me finish. If all 4 of the children turn out to be shit as adults, right? Then maybe they should not have been together. Maybe one of them had a deficiency that the other one couldn't help. Right?
You're moving the goalposts.
I'm not moving. I'm keeping it a buck.
No, you're not. You're creating a scenario to make your.
Listen. If getting married, if the outcome of most people getting married is divorce, right? Let's say half of the people are getting a divorce, right? I would argue that a divorce after you've been married is more stressful on a kid than a kid that's being born out of wedlock and having 2 different
parents. We're talking about a kid, not what he asked.
It was a 30-year marriage. They had 4 kids. Notice I didn't paint the scenario to fit my narrative, right? This was just the blanket scenario I gave you at first. I don't know what these ages of these kids are. Hell, they could have waited until they were 40 to start having kids, and they all would be under 18. But chances are they probably had their kids in their early 20s. So if all of these kids are no longer in the house, I don't give a damn if they ball players, they're millionaires, they're drug addicts. I don't care what the outcome of those kids were.
Hey, Will, what happens if a couple, they have a child and then I hope this don't trigger nobody, but I'm pretty sure somebody with one, but fuck them.
They come out gay.
If a kid come out retarded, right, and that's the first one, and then they have a second child, and that child also is retarded, and then they do it 2 more times, and now they have 4 retarded children. Would that make you think that they probably should have stopped having kids?
Yes.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, is that is that failure? I don't real dope say the outcome is what matters.
That's all that matters.
Okay, so listen, now you move so now you move from it being a divorce to the outcome of the kids. So if all the kids come out and they live in average, regular lives, none of them are exceptional, none of them are bad, they're just average people. And the husband and wife get a divorce at 50. Did they do it the wrong way?
No, because they did it when they got married. They did it in good faith.
No, Willie. This is his logic.
There's nothing wrong with being regular people.
Wait. What do you mean regular?
You said if all 4 of the kids came out and they just averaged.
I'm asking you, did they do it the wrong way if they get a divorce?
Not if the kids came out cool.
What the fuck? So it has nothing to do.
It's all about the outcome of the
coming out cool, a success.
So he's going under the guise of people being married to have a family and children. And a lot of people, to some people, that's their reality. They'll get married to have children.
So what are we getting married
I don't.
for?
I think that's where he's going. I think that's where he's going.
So,
Like,
so when y'all look when y'all look at me, right, and y'all say, okay, this is a guy. He has 3 children. He's not with none of the mothers. This is a shame. It's a shame because I'm not married and romantically in love with them, or it's a shame because of the children will suffer.
No,
Which one is
did
it?
it the wrong
Who said
way.
the kids are suffering?
No,
No.
did it the wrong way, but you're successful.
No. I'm saying, why did I do it the wrong way? Because the kids will suffer.
You did it the wrong. You did it the wrong way because our society has an idea of what the right way is. So according to society, you did it the wrong way.
But why is that? So in order for us to know that we're not indoctrinated, we have to analyze this.
You don't have to subscribe to
because
it, bro.
if we don't question it,
bro.
Let me finish. If we don't question things, we can't prove that we're not indoctrinated, right?
We can let it exist.
I can prove you. You said you're a biblical man, right, Dope?
Not at all.
Didn't you say that in a prior show? That
Not
you
even
wish
in the least.
your kids to be raised in a like marriage under God and stuff like that? You didn't say that when you were speaking to me?
No, I never said that. I do want
sure?
my kids to be. I never read the Bible. How can I say something like that?
No, what he said was he agrees that that's the ideal situation, and if he was to do it again, he would try and do it that way.
So look, bro, our society has this idea of what's the norm, what's the right way, and what's the wrong way. Whether we agree with it or not is irrelevant. We know there's a norm in this society of what the right way is.
Because it's most optimal.
Huh?
Because it's said to be most optimal for the children.
That's why it's not. No, that's not why.
Said to be most optimal in general,
bro.
Overall.
Listen, I don't live the life. I'm not doing it the right way according to society. You don't hear me saying, "Oh, something's wrong. I'm doing it the wrong." No, I don't subscribe to that's the right way. However, the society, all these losing ass hoes and these weak ass niggas that watch the Lapeef Network, they'll say I'm doing it the wrong way.
Damn.
So I'm trying to figure out what is the right way.
I got another question with that.
I truly.
There ain't no right way, man.
I truly don't believe there's a right way, and a wrong way. However,
so it's subjective.
However, it's similar to science, right? It's similar to science where we only have the best information we can go off right now, right? Or we to some degree, it's an educated guess. I do think that it's probably best to be in a long-term relationship with if you're going to have kids with that person. I think that's probably best. I can't guarantee you that because the way I'm gonna do it. I'm not in a long-term relationship with none of them, and my kids gonna come out and they going flying stars, right? That's how it is gonna be with me. So I can't tell you what's the right way. Somebody might be poly and they might raise great kids. I'm not about to tell you what's the right way. I can only tell you what I think, and I might be indoctrinated. Who knows?
So I think the right way would be.
Go ahead, Marcus.
I think the right way, referencing the people you questioned, would be ideally both biological parents being stable and having a loving, what's the word? Healthy relationship that the kids get to see and mirror with positive gender roles on both sides, and they are able to impart some type of value system in those kids with those adults being there as examples for the children. The truth of the matter is, if a child is missing one of the parents, even if they do have an ancillary or a step parent, they miss that primary biological parent, and something there they yearn for. Not to say they won't be good kids, not to say they won't be successful, but there is something that they want from both parents. And you see that proven with drug addict fathers. Those kids still want to know their father in most cases. Or when you get abandoned kids that are raised in foster care, that have both parents in their new foster setup, they still would like to know who their birth parents are, and most times build relationships with them. So ideally, it would be the people who gave the biological DNA there for both of them.
Marcus,
it's not to say that you can't produce kids.
Marcus, I would challenge you on that because I think it's just all mental. Like I think if you raised the kid and you never told them that you weren't their parent, it wouldn't be this like, oh, I wish I could meet. I just don't feel it with you. I think it's just all mental. You tell somebody something and it's like.
But when they find out, they'll rebel against you and feel like you lied to them, and all of that hard work you did more than likely will backfire on you based off of that lie.
So
well, they're going to.
I had a point
ask
about
you,
this.
who is my daddy at some point? Are you my dad? If you don't ever tell them you're their dad, they're going to ask you, who's my dad? because they're going to see other kids call a man dad, and they're going to be like, do I have a dad? So it's going to come out whether you try to socially engineer a scenario where they don't know it and you try to test that experiment. I think it's crazy, but I
You
understand.
tell them you the dad, then they're gonna think you the dad.
Well,
So-
look.
All right, real quick. I got a thing, right? So there's definitely a correlation, right? I don't want to say causation, but I wanted the panel's opinion on causation. There's definitely a correlation between the families that are having children out of wedlock, families that get married have lower divorce rates, and wealth and everything else, right? If you go up and down the rankings, they're all in line, right? And we seem to be at the bottom of all of it. So the first part of the question would be, does anybody think that there is anything to it? Is that causation, or is it just correlation? And the second part of it is, do we think, if that is the case, that we should have some type of solution to just for the sake of our community?
I think it's causation. And the causation is women leave their husbands or their boyfriends or whatever the hell the relationship is titled is. If women don't do that, the problem solves itself.
I think that I think it's correlation, because I think a bigger facet of that is ideological self-image and the desire to not assimilate, and how that represents itself in not seeking academic excellence, because it can be viewed as stepping outside the lines of the ideology that you represent and assimilating to whiteness.
What the hell did you
for
just
that,
say,
Marcus? So for Marcus, with that, this is where I would challenge that. Do you think that your children are going to be in a better position to become upstanding citizens because you and your wife have a nuclear family? Because I heard you promote nuclear family earlier, right? Do you think that your children are going to be in a better position to be the difference between a degenerate and an upstanding citizen by having access to you and your wife in a nuclear family setting?
So I think on average that this will produce a better outcome. But here's the caveat, and this is going to be controversial. I think that the biggest failures and the biggest successes come from people with extreme chips on their shoulder. So you get a LeBron out of somebody who has something missing that makes them yearn to be more successful. As far as emotionally stable and functional adults that don't have extreme psychological problems, I think my way is the way for that. But I think I discussed this before when I said my kids having a father is going to take something away that I like. That chip that was on my shoulder, I can't see my children having it because they don't have that type of struggle.
Now, would you say that was more outliers, or does the data suggest
that's why I said in generality, my situation is ideal, right? But the extreme failure and extreme success, I think, come from those extreme circumstances.
And those are both, yeah. But when we start to focus on anything outside of the averages, what are we doing, right? Not to say that they don't matter, but to come to a resolution, we have to look at the masses and what's happening with most people. Would you agree?
Which is why I answered it in general, but I would be dishonest.
So that's a yes then. Then.
Yes, but I need to throw this caveat in here. That's why most extreme successes can't be the general case anyway. They are one-offs. You get a one-off LeBron, a one-off Jay-Z, a one-off Bill Gates. These are one-off.
So if you believe that, what do you think we should promote? Should we be searching for that chip on your shoulder, guys? Should we be looking for the extremes, or should we be focusing on what's likely to happen with most people?
We should be focusing on what's likely to happen. Well, I agree with you, Trev. I just
got it. So with that, Marcus. So with that, right? What do you think that? So with that, so then now, what should we be promoting, right? And what actions could we take to promote that type of a situation, right? What actions could we take as men to promote that? I'm asking Marcus, bro. Hold on. Let him go. We're going somewhere with this.
That women should try and get married around 18 to 25, and men should get married after 30, after they live their life and practice safe sexual like where they did not impregnate women prior to the point where they were ready to settle down to have a family.
So what would you advise most women to do? Would you advise most women to hold on to their chastity to marriage, or just have a few fuck buddies and then find a man?
Hold on to your chastity to marriage.
If women are holding on to their chastity for marriage, right? Who are these dudes supposed to fuck?
Nobody.
There's always a segment that will choose to do something different, and that segment consensually chooses to engage in that free sexual lifestyle, and those are who those men should be messing with, because they don't expect the same commitment.
I want to answer your question too, man. I want to answer.
I'm saying there are consequences and things. Like things exist, right? So in an ideal society, maybe nobody has a body count and everybody pairs up, but that's not the world we live in. And there are gonna be people that fall off and do something different. And those people that do something different, they're gonna engage in that lifestyle. I think men should be dealing with them prior to that point.
Marcus, you should just answer his questions the way he's asking them, right? To create the foundation. We understand nuances exist. We understand outliers exist, but answer it about structurally how it should be. His question was, if women are maintaining their chastity until marriage, who are these dudes supposed to smash? The answer is nobody, because they should be waiting too.
Right. I said in the ideal scenario, that's how that would go.
Right. So no, but we're talking about ideal, right? Women holding their chastity till marriage is an ideal scenario. We know that's not reality. So we're talking about structurally, ideally, how it should be. So if women maintain their chastity until marriage, Trev's question was, who are these dudes supposed to be hitting off? The answer is no. Listen, the answer is nobody, because there's not enough hoes in the world. If women in general are maintaining their chastity until marriage, there's not enough hoes in the world for all the dudes to get their rocks off.
Has there ever been a time when women maintain their chastity in abundance?
Medieval times. In medieval times, they had chastity belts and shit.
The hoes exist in medieval times, Willie.
That's not true,
Marcus. This is an ideal, Marcus. This is
that is not true. In medieval
scenario.
Times, women of high value and nobility was the ones that maintained their chastity.
Trev, I want to answer your question. So I think that legitimately, this is just my belief. I think that the problem comes with dysfunctional people. I don't think the problem is necessarily two parent homes. I think it comes from two dysfunctional people with a dysfunctional relationship break up, and now you got two dysfunctional people trying to co-parent. I think that's the main issue. If you are a person of high character who's not in a dysfunctional relationship, you can even
somebody got
and have a great
you got noise in your background.
I think this might be clout.
My bad, that was me.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to dysfunction. It all comes down to order. A lot of times when men and women have children out of wedlock, the woman becomes the leader of that family, of that that's broken family. The woman is the leader of it. And I don't necessarily think none of that is optimal. I think it's dysfunctional.
Man,
so with that, you would advise. So all right, if you want to, we're looking for ideal. We'll hit it on the head, right? We're talking about ideal, what we should strive for, right? We're not saying what's realistic. What should you tell your children? How should you advise them? Like Will said, we trying to give people the answers that the young people out here who want answers. What are we telling them that they should strive for? They want answers. A lot of people want answers. Anybody listen to this? The point of this whole shit, we don't just want to be talking heads up here in these squares. What are we doing? We're trying to come up to some solution. I don't have all the answers. That's why, we all getting together to kind of hash this out and see what we could come up with. We're trying to come to some type of an idea as to what we should be striving for. What should we tell our children?
If we're telling everybody to be abstinent, then we might as well just leave the fucking podcast. That ain't gonna work.
Real dope. Did you not hear? Look, structurally, put it like this. Trev, this is how you do it. See, real dope. You got a 16-year-old boy.
Okay.
He lost. He don't got no direction. What you gonna tell him when it come to women?
Well, for one, I'm gonna tell my son not to worry, but
not your son, not your son, just a boy. It's a boy that he's in your presence.
In terms of relationships, long-term relationships,
just in terms of women. Obviously, he's a 16-year-old boy. He's around kids that have sex. He may want to have sex. Is he what?
Handsome or ugly? Just answer, please, so I can answer your question. Pick one.
He ugly.
He ugly. Okay. I guess
Give me
I'm
both scenarios. I want to hear about the handsome kid and the ugly kid.
Well, the handsome kid, I'm gonna say, yo, the women gonna come. You don't gotta worry about them. The women gonna come. They ain't going nowhere. Worry about yourself. Worry about building your character. Worry about your career. Worry about all those things. The women are going to come. So that's what I'm gonna tell him.
Wait, pause right there. When that little nigga get to be 28 and he got 3 kids by 3 women or 2 kids by 2, he gonna be like, ain't nobody ever tell me nothing. But you had the conversation with him.
That's his business.
I'm just talking about how niggas act like they don't have nobody telling them. So you're gonna talk to this handsome kid. You're gonna tell him, don't worry about the women. They gonna come work on your character, work on you, blah blah blah. What else anything else you gonna tell him, or can we move to the ugly dude?
That's pretty much the main thing. Work on your character, work on your career, all that type of stuff.
What you gonna tell the ugly dude?
I'm gonna honestly probably tell him the same thing, build himself up and all that type of stuff. Because he probably, I'm gonna tell him the same thing.
Wait. So why did you ask me if he was handsome or ugly? Why did that matter?
I thought it mattered.
Yeah, see, the problem is this. Y'all don't have a uniform message that y'all tell young men. Y'all all over the place. Y'all look for these variables like, oh, I'm gonna tell a handsome kid something different than the ugly kid. Then when you think about it, you're gonna tell them the exact same damn thing.
I do think handsome and ugly people need to operate the world differently.
No, they don't.
I think so, especially women.
Okay.
Women and men.
How does a handsome person need to operate the world?
Does operate differently for the world. The world does operate differently for people who are aesthetically
handsome people, and handsome people do not operate the world. He said, look,
you operate differently. If you don't know that you're ugly, you're going to be operating at a deficit.
I know what I said.
This is crazy, bro.
Like, I think Will is just really trying to see, like, what is it that you're gonna stand for? Like you gotta pick a side.
They pick and choose, man. Shout out to me.
So in terms of the goal is all the same.
What is the goal?
The goal is to one day be in a relationship with somebody that you align with. And if you want, I think people should have kids.
Wait. Are you talking about for a man's perspective or for a woman's perspective?
Both.
No. Men don't get in relationships with women that they align with. Women get in relationships with men that they align with.
Well, you want a woman that aligns with you.
Right. But you don't go align. You tell a woman how it is, and that woman acquiesces, or she moves on. Or you
want a woman. You want a woman who sees your vision.
Right. But the thing about it is this stuff is not communicated, right? We keep using words like partnering and aligning with each other, and that's another way of saying partnering. Look, men have to figure out who they are, what they are about, what they will stand for, what they will accept and what they won't accept. And women need to determine if they can get with that man's program. Point blank, period. That's the messaging we should be unified on. And we're not unified on that because we always want to pander and say shit, trying to appease or be gentle or put these damn gloves on and handle people with gentle and care. No, tell people the truth. Be honest with them. I mean, you can be kind when you can be gentle in your honesty. You don't got to be brute and so harsh that people have a hard time receiving it. But damn, don't lie to them.
Like I see in White shaking his head. What you thinking in White?
So I'm thinking that's why I answered the way I did, because in order for your son to be able to lead some damn body, he needs the life experience to know what he's talking about and doing.
He don't got to have sex with people to get life experience.
And this, I think it all encompasses.
Do you have to have sex with people, Marcus, to get life experience?
In relationships, I do think that is a factor.
Okay,
is sex not a factor in relationships?
Listen to my question.
Is sex not yes? The answer is yes. Is sex not a factor?
No, because guess what? If two people who never had sex, they don't know what bad sex is, they don't know what good sex is.
So in that scenario, say you got two. You said yourself that you did the wrong thing by marrying so young because there were things you needed to know that you did not know, right?
Right. But here's the difference. I said my ex-wife's father, because my father wasn't in my life. My ex-wife's father should have said, let's delay this, and he should have took me under his wing. If his daughter was indeed going to marry me, he should have made sure I was the right man for his daughter. But he gave me his blessings when I was still in my development phase. So no, I did not learn everything I should have known.
Two virgins can know what bad sex is. because
How?
their friends tell them. Like for example, you ain't never sucked a dick in your life, but you know how you like your dick sucked, all right? You
No,
know
I
how we know
didn't.
what good
I
head is.
didn't. I didn't when
Exactly.
it was getting done.
But
Not
that's
the,
my point, though. You knew after I'm saying you knew before because you heard it in songs. They tell you about all the shit. Your friends
no.
could talk to you about it.
I
So
didn't
just
know.
because you ain't never did it, don't mean you don't know what it's like or how
No,
it's
And
supposed to
no,
he
go.
goes,
no,
Will,
no.
ain't you the same one that said we up here saying things that's unrealistic to people and we need to speak directly to the people? So you gonna go tell young boys that's in the height of puberty, hey, just be a virgin and wait till you get vetted by the girl's father, or you are
First
a
of all,
masculine in a situation, then get married, and that's your first sexual
first
experience?
of
That's what
all,
you
we
gonna
was
say?
talking about. First of all, we were talking about an
Not
ideal.
realistic.
We
Not
was talking.
realistic.
First of all, Trev asked about a question about an ideal situation. So we were talking about the ideal situation. We weren't talking about reality. That's why I asked Real Dope a question about reality. So if you was to ask me, hey, what would you what would you tell a 16-year-old boy? I'd be like, hey man, first I'm gonna ask him some questions. Hey man, what you out here doing? What you trying to be? What you trying to do with life? I'm gonna figure out who he is and what he's trying to do. And I'm going to try to impart some information or influence him in a way to strengthen who he is trying to become. I'm like, bro, what you need to understand is, look, you're gonna either have sex or you ain't gonna have sex. If I was you, I will abstain from having sex. And let me tell you why. You are irresponsible, you are immature, you're dumb, and you're broke. You're probably going to make a decision that's going to impact your life in a negative way for the rest of your life. When you get older, 22, 23, 24, you will be able to make better decisions. I will strongly encourage him to wait till 22. I think, me personally, I think boys should wait until they're 22 before they become sexually active. I know it's not going to happen, but that's what I think should happen, because we make piss poor decision in girls when we are under the age of 22. Hell, we make bad decisions in women most of our lives, but when we're under 22, we make the worst kind of decisions because nothing matters but the fact that she's pretty. They got a fat ass, she got some nice titties. That's the only thing that matters when we're under 22.
I feel like Piggin is talking to me 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So you're right. Because I had terrible taste. My son's mom just looked the same. They both fine, but they just pretty. That was it.
So
Right.
hold on. We got a brother on here that we got respect for. We think is taking care of business, got a good head on his shoulder. He's telling you what I would have told his 16-year-old self or his 21-year-old self is right. We don't have all the answers, and we're not going to have the answers. We need to ask questions. We need to get to know, and then we can influence from the information we receive.
So you
Yeah, but
saying
you
that?
asking a 16-year-old
So
question.
you
they don't know.
saying that if like most men would preach this message to their sons, that we will have better relationships now?
Hell yeah. Listen, if
Yeah.
all of us abstained from sex until we was 22 years old, all of us will be in better positions than we are in right now. Every last one of us.
You
Even
waste
if
a
we're in
lot of
good
time,
positions,
energy,
we'll be
effort.
better.
You know how much shit you could learn,
And
how
the
much shit you could
opportunities
accomplish in that time.
the
That's not
opportunities that
necessarily
you can
true.
take when you don't have kids. Because if you pick better women, you miss the opportunity cost is something that most men don't think about. You know, what opportunities could you not take? You couldn't take that job overseas. You couldn't go, you know what I'm saying, play for this team overseas because you had a girl back home. So a lot of young guys do make life altering decisions based off of whoever they are dealing with at the time.
All right. So I
So
know
I agree.
Marcus. Okay, Marcus, go ahead, because I was going to say I think you disagree to a certain.
Yeah, because I agree that picking a woman under 22 is going to be detrimental to you, and you don't even know your real type, how to select, how to vet, all of this stuff at a young age. I completely agree with that. So this conversation, my memory ain't the best, but I start remembering why I have this opinion about men having sex and all those things. It comes from life experiences of seeing men who so-called did it the way where, oh yeah, let me abstain from sex or only have sex when I get in a relationship. And I watched them dudes get dragged through the mud because they lack the life experience and the ability to separate sex from a relationship so they can make clear, level-headed decisions. And that's something that puberty stricken to over testosterone young men pre-25 are going to severely struggle with.
So
Like,
Marcus, are you basing that on anecdotal evidence? Because mine is completely the opposite, and then the statistics say something completely different, right? I don't know anybody who met as two virgins, and I know some people like that. I got some people in my family like that. None of them ain't divorced. None of them that I could think of at all, right? So I could say that. And then secondly, if you look at the tables and they have the charts and they start to show you like people who, when both men and women are virgins, they are likely to have a more sustainable marriage. And as the partners increase, the more the likelihood that they fall off.
Does that do those virgins come with like the Bible? Like, are these religious virgins, or are they just normal virgins who don't believe in the Bible?
I mean, a lot of people that think like that are grounded by religion, but not everyone. Some people just abstain from sex. And another thing that we're not paying attention to is like, why do we always feel like everything is so damn unrealistic for us when other cultures don't think that shit? They just do it. Why does everything have to be so impossible and unrealistic and impractical for us? Why we always feel like that? We gotta fuck. I gotta fuck, man. Like, what we doing? Like,
so rappers. I don't think
women.
Look, I don't think you can make the case, right, that if people are religious and then they're abstinent or celibate because they're religious and they believe in the Bible and they follow God and they fear God, that they're staying in a relationship because they just didn't have sex. Because we're not telling people to follow the doctrine of the Bible and all that type of stuff. We're just telling you not to have sex. So I don't think that. I think we need more data to actually prove.
That's not what we're doing.
Wait, who said that?
That's what you're doing. You're not saying fear God. You're saying don't have sex.
No, bro. Because we're not bringing God into the equation right now because we're not pushing religion on anybody.
You have to, because the people that Trev is referencing, I apologize for cutting you off, but the people that Trev is referencing are come from cultures that are heavily guided and rooted in some form of a religious context.
I was going to respond to Trev and tell him that's the wrong way. No, you're good.
That's not necessarily a fact, though.
What Trev should have did was ask you a question that I'm about to ask you, Marcus. Okay, you say men
they're just virgins. He didn't say they was religious.
Men shouldn't wait till they're 22. Great, cool, whatever. What age should boys start having sex, Marcus? You see? You see? You see? So Trev, what you're supposed to do, again, you're supposed to ask. See, this is what I do. I ask people questions. This is why I was trying to tell Real Dope why I couldn't have a debate with the PO dude, because if you can't ask questions, right, you got to see where people stand. You got to have them draw a line in the sand, and then you hold their ass to the fire.
No, I got it. Me and Marcus just had a convo like that.
I know, but watch this. But notice, Marcus still ain't answered the question, right? Because boys got to start having sex at some point. Clearly 22 is too late because now you can potentially get dragged. I never seen a dude avoid getting dragged because he had sex before 22.
Hi, nice to meet you, Will. I'm the dude that avoided getting dragged.
No. So but
I would assume that Trev is also the dude that was having sex at a younger age that avoided getting dragged based off of that in his long term, maybe in the short term, while he figured it out. Clout, you probably the same thing. Will, you probably the same. What I'm saying is we literally did something. We got results and we understand the situation based off of that. And to advise somebody to do the opposite, when we know for a fact there were men who did the opposite and they was getting their ass drugged.
But Marcus,
Will, time out. You know what, Marcus? Though we can't. This is more anecdotal, right? So let's just say this. Let's just take any one thing, right? We're not the statistic. The statistic shows that like nearly 70% of us are not having families and all of that, right? That's what we're saying. We're having children outside of wedlock, right? If you start talking about bread, right, the average person makes whatever. I think every single person on this goddamn panel makes probably at least double the average of what the average person makes.
Nah, I'm on food.
Whoever don't raise your hand. That's what I'm saying. So
whoever don't,
y'all don't stop playing. Really, he's talking about Big Back the other day. You got it, bro. Stop it. So what I'm saying is that we can't use this as anecdotal evidence. You know what I'm saying? Outlier is an outlier, right? And I sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that everybody could take the same path and get that and yield that result. I would never tell people like because maybe Obama or Jay-Z or LeBron all came or a product of a single mother that's the way to do it. And generally, and it's going to work because generally that shit fails. And most of us preach all the numbers that support that.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
I live in reality. I live in pure reality.
Good.
So when I'm having a conversation, I'm thinking of all the factors that come into what the answer is. And
Good.
yeah, okay, look, everybody should stay a virgin until they're 22, and then they can get married and they're gonna live happily ever after. Okay.
So Marcus, since you
that's
live
the
in
reality
reality,
we live in now.
That's
the reality we live in.
Since you live in
reality,
reality,
that's reality. I'm gonna entertain it and say that.
No, we gonna live it. No, we gonna live in reality for real. And since you live in reality, Marcus, I got a question for you. Same question I had for real dope. You got a lost 16-year-old boy in front of you. What you gonna say to him?
I need some give me a criteria. Give me age.
Lost. He lost. What's your age? He's 16.
All right, 16. How tall is he? Is he attractive? Is he got
it matters, bro.
Is he a basketball
can't
player?
give everybody the same
Is he a regular student? Is he failing in school? Does he look like he got a trajectory?
He's lost. He's a lost young man. Young boy. He don't know up from left, from right, from down, from side, from in, from out. Does
he have potential to play a sport?
What tools do we have?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
What tools
gentlemen.
Because I would advise somebody to go.
Wait, hold on. So there's going to be a lost 16-year-old who's 6'4". There's going to be a lost 16-year-old who's 5'7". You're going to give them different advice?
Yes. I think you're asking the wrong question. I think you
Nigga,
want
how you
I think you want us to say what we should tell them to strive.
No, all right. Well, how about this? How about this? The average person, he's not exceptional at anything, right? But he's okay. He's coachable. He's moldable. He's average as fuck. Average height, average whatever. Nothing exceptional. Regular guy.
Why do they always say what you trying to get me? Nigga, I asked you, what would you say? I don't care what the answer is. I just wanted to know what you would say. Hold on.
The reason he said that was because I was asking for criteria, because I would tell a 6'4", like the difference between a 5'7" and 6'4". The 6'4", I would probably try and get him plugged in with the coach so he can get a scholarship to one of these colleges. The 5'7" is least likely. You can't teach height. You can't teach size. So those are things
he's going to be the average height of a boy. He's 5'9".
Okay, then the military is, if he has no direction, then the military would be something I would advise him to do, right? And when it comes to sex, hey, you're gonna have to date and learn about women, son. The number one thing you need to do is wear protection at all times. No matter when she says, no matter how she begs for the nut, all of that, ignore that. That's gonna be one of your biggest tests in life. It's gonna be the difference between you having a house or you paying child support and being in an apartment, single apartment someplace. You have to understand that your sexual interactions can end up with you having this, but you need this experience so you'll be able to select the women that you like and scroll through different personality traits to be able to determine from data sets. Hey, these type of women use sex this way. Hey, this type of woman does this type of thing. You can't be exact science, but you can get somewhere in the ballpark and then you can separate from there. I wouldn't tell a 16-year-old, yeah, just stay a virgin and at 22 you're gonna be ready for sex and marriage. Like, I'm not doing that.
Okay, that's cool. But you're gonna so notice something, and I'm not gonna tell you, Marcus. I think you got a good head on your shoulder. So I ain't challenged. I mean, I ain't saying you done what in no shape, form, fashion. But I noticed what you did. The same thing Real Dope would do. Y'all not asking questions. Y'all just coming with information. Like you said, you would tell him to join the military. He's 16.
I asked the only qualifying information you gave me was that he was 5'7" and 6'4".
No,
and
he's 5'9". I said he's 5'9", he's 16, and he lost.
Right, 5'9" lost, 6'4" lost. And I gave you differentiating things that I would do because you can't. I would try and plug me in with a mentor.
I got you. I understand.
Somebody that's 5'9", there aren't an overwhelming majority of people just jumping in trying to bring somebody of average height into unless I can get him in specialized field, plumbing, electrical, or
Marcus,
military.
I understand him being 6'4". Why you?
And I would figure out a path with college and get him linked in with some of the people in my network from Harvard, Yale, or something like that.
I understand that, right? Because he's 6'4". I understand how you would push basketball because you're connected in that way, and you're like, hey, he's well above average height, right? He has something that the average man just can't get because you can't teach height. He has right. But that's why I said I gave you the scenario of a 16-year-old that's 5'9", and you were saying the military. He's 16.
A lost boy. a lost boy, so he can't go to the military as of yet. I would mentor him until that point, till he turn 18 or 17 or whatever the age to sign up for it is. If he does not have a trajectory laid out for him, and as a lost boy at 16, that would be the aspirational choice for him. He'll get some he'll get some direction, some discipline, and some benefits so that he can figure out what he wants to do with his life from there.
This is why we have this is foundationally a problem, because we boys can't even turn to us men for direction, because we act like lost little hoes too.
How do you give
Lost
something
little hoes.
so
Yeah, I know what I tell them.
and then have somebody try
I'm
to
not calling you
paint
a hoe, Marcus,
in a good
and
light?
I'm not calling real.
I tell them, I'll be like,
I'm
yo,
saying,
listen, my
in
man,
general,
get in the gym.
this.
He gives you something so
tell him to
vague,
get in
and
the
then
gym.
you have to make structure
I
of it.
tell him,
It's like I'm
stay
giving you
single.
1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, and I need you to figure it out in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I would tell the young man, stay single. I would tell him get in the gym. I would give him a comprehensive crash course on sexual education, condoms, pull-out method, STDs, pregnancy, 28-day cycle, sex position, all of it. I tell him everything. I give him the whole 9 yards. I tell him all the ramifications of his actions. I'd ask him what it is he wants, what he's trying to achieve. If he's saying, yo, I just want to knock him down, then okay. Well, I'm gonna say wear condoms, you know what I'm saying? So you don't end up with kids. If he says, listen, I'm looking for a girlfriend, I'd say, okay, listen, this is how you get a girlfriend. Oh, I want to be married. Listen, okay, well, this is how you go about it, But I would just equip him with the information to make an educated choice. As far as leading him as to what choice to make, I really can't say. I don't know, I can't say in this day and age what would be the choice for any individual specifically to make. But I give them education, especially sexual education. At 16, you should have full sexual education. You should understand before you even have sex, you should have full sexual education, I think. And I think that's something that's severely lacking in America in general. And specifically in the Black community. A lot of people are introduced to sex before they've ever had a conversation about it, before they've ever read a book about it, before they even understand the biology behind it. You know what I mean? And it's important.
So, Cloud, you promoted the pull-out method. How effective do you think that is?
It's very effective.
I think it's extremely effective.
It's extremely.
I was going to say against STDs.
Against STDs, not so much. I wouldn't suggest it outside of a relationship.
Hey, look.
No, because you threw the word STD right behind it. You said I'm gonna tell them.
pull out,
and then I'm gonna tell them about STDs, together. And I'm like, damn.
I'm saying I would teach him different methods of contraception. I would also teach him different methods of protection against STD. I would just tell him all about sex, everything he needs to know.
Let me ask y'all a question. This is very controversial. Shouldn't be, but it is. And niggas gonna lie too. All you niggas gonna lie. I'm gonna tell y'all gonna lie before I ask y'all the question.
Then why you asking?
What am I asking?
Because I'm gonna show
all of us gonna lie. All of us gonna lie.
I might. Yeah, all you niggas gonna lie. I might need to be the oracle, because I'm gonna tell y'all right now what you niggas gonna do before y'all do it. So look, do y'all trust condoms?
I do.
Show of hands who trust. Show of hands who trust condoms, so I can make sure I get everybody.
For the most part.
Expensive ones, yeah.
Okay, so Willie don't trust condoms. I don't know if he paying attention.
You said Willie don't what?
No, I'm asking. I said show of hands of everybody who trusts condoms.
Trust them how?
Like trust them to protect you from STDs.
No, only thing that I trust to protect me from STDs is not fucking somebody with one.
Yeah, my man.
That's it.
Willie, boy, that boy Willie sharp, boy. Hey,
yeah.
So watch this. For those of y'all that raised y'all hand, would y'all sleep with a woman who has HIV?
Like, if I'm not mistaken,
not by choice, not consciously,
knowingly. No.
What?
Will you? For the ones who said they trust condoms, Willie don't have to answer this. Willie didn't raise his hand.
I'm not holding hands with a bitch that got HIV.
Willie don't. Willie, damn, bro. Hey, we know you gonna give a good answer, man. Shut your ass up.
That's my bad.
Listen, man. Listen, man.
Look, hold on.
I trust condoms like I trust the seatbelt.
Wait. For the ones who raised their hand, right? will you sleep with a woman who you know has HIV?
And
No,
another
but
What
not
question
for the
is
reason that you
gray
think, bro.
area.
Clout
and
gave a
just
perfect
and
answer, man.
capitalize.
Just because you trust it, so that don't mean that I'm gonna start crashing just to test if my
You get
seatbelt
what
works.
I'm saying? Like,
No,
like
What are you doing? What we doing?
I trust him like I trust him like I trust a parachute.
so
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
will
what
say,
other
I will
options
say
do I
they've been
really have?
100% effective for me.
Like,
100% effective for me so far. So I do have a level of trust.
So now we putting doubt in condoms now.
I'm not putting
I didn't
doubt
put
in them.
doubt in
I'm just saying,
condoms.
look,
I said
I'm
they've
just
been
saying, if I
100%
never out
effective.
of plane, I'd rather have a
I can't
parachute.
hear all y'all. Y'all
Yeah,
sound like
man.
y'all the stock market.
You never asked if condoms were 100% effective. You asked us if we trusted them.
Yes, nigga. So you telling me you trust something that's not 100% effective?
Yeah, you got to.
To a degree.
No, you don't. You have to put it on and hope it do its job. That don't mean you trust it.
Listen.
You're hoping. You're wishing.
Will,
you're
if you
praying.
go
I know.
skydiving,
It's
if you
a
go
condom.
skydiving, Will, you have no choice but to trust your parachute. Now, do parachutes always work? Do people die skydiving? Is skydiving safe? No. But if you go on skydive, right? If you go on skydive,
Yeah,
no,
but you have
Clout,
control.
you want a
You
parachute.
have control to minimize risk.
Will, do
Clout,
you
listen.
trust DNA tests?
Clout, listen. Hold on.
Because they
I'm
only
asking-
99.
Right? I'm just saying, if you go on skydive, you gonna trust
Hold
your
on,
parachute.
gentlemen. Listen.
I'm not gonna be jumping out the plane like, damn, I don't know if this parachute gonna work.
Willie answered the question the right way. Willie is just like what I would say. Look, I'm not skydiving, nigga. I don't give a damn how. I don't give a damn if the
Hey,
parachute is 100%.
it was me too. Will,
You too? What?
Yeah, you just counted me out. Like I don't even exist.
Didn't you say you trust condoms?
No, I don't trust condoms.
Oh, okay. Well, then you exempt too, my brother. My bad.
Yeah, no,
So-
it was a video I watched when I was younger. You know how to go to take them classes and stuff, and there was some diseases that it didn't work, that it actually like burned through the condom. So I was just like, I know.
Okay.
Well, watch this.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. So let me ask y'all this: what do y'all trust more than condoms? Then, since we don't trust condoms now, what you trust more?
Clout, hold on.
What you trust more? What's the better option?
Test results,
Gentlemen.
IUDs.
What's the better option? Saran wrap? What we talking? Polyurethane?
Gentlemen.
Spray foam? What we talking?
I'm
asking the best thing.
You want to use sheep guts? Like, what we talking about here?
I'm gonna tell you what's undefeated.
If you're gonna use a prophylactic, I mean, what else you gonna trust?
A clean bill of health and an IUD is undefeated.
I'm trying to ask.
We talking about prophylactics here.
What's
Gentlemen,
IUD?
Gentlemen, you got to keep in mind. See,
You're a smart man. You don't know what that is?
it's a damn shame.
This nigga
Ain't
want
IUD for birth control
so bad and just it don't work every
No,
time
he
we try
the
to
one that's
choose
bringing up
it don't make
sausage all
any
night.
sense. So again,
Hey, look, keep in mind when we're talking to young men, right? These young men are stupid.
Some of these old niggas are stupid too.
We know. That's how we know the young ones are stupid. Because these
Pipe
old
down
niggas
now, Willie. We know your cholesterol.
What?
Might be messing with
So
you.
JR, I just
Come
talk
on,
to
you
you.
drunk.
Maybe you
We all
listen to
know
what I
you
gotta
fat.
say.
Kenny, I guarantee you my body fat is lower than yours.
Bet money. Bet the $1,000 you lost.
I didn't lose $1,000, you bum.
You did.
But,
you did.
hey, listen, all I'm gonna do is tell you
Watch.
this.
Watch.
Let my cholesterol be high when we had this boxing match.
Watch. Do this.
That's all I gotta say.
Do this.
When we had this boxing
Put
match.
your arms up.
Let this body fat be too high, cholesterol. I don't want to hear no excuses, Kenny.
Put your arms up.
I don't want to hear any excuses, my G. You keep talking. All I'm gonna do is say I can show you better than I can tell you.
Stand up. Show me.
Stand up and show you what? You want to see me? That's some weird shit to tell a nigga do, bro. Pause. Super pause,
Dude,
bro.
you
No
was
shit.
talking about all type of sausage.
Hey, listen.
Tonight.
If anybody
it
else
was
on
kinda
here
scary.
asked me to stand up that wasn't a felon, I would have did it, bro. But you've been in jail before. We already know what that happened to you niggas in there, man.
Okay, wait. I challenge. This is one challenge I give. Just go like that. Just show your arm. Just show your arm. Just show a little piece of your arm.
Okay.
The more I think about this
is
there
gay
was
shit.
people who said don't have sex growing up. And you know what I thought? Man, get your goof ass away from me. I had an auntie that told me that shit, and I used to think she was weird for even saying that, especially because I know she was having sex before she got married. The men that said that, I looked at funny like this dude might be gay. Like I don't know about everybody else, but certain types of men give me information, especially at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. You damn near got to be a nigga I want to be like. And
ain't that what I See,
A
you
dude that
proving
was
my
a
point.
virgin.
Didn't I say these little niggas don't listen?
They listen to me.
They don't listen to
I
bad
definitely,
advice.
They listen to who's slapping cheeks.
What you mean they don't listen to better?
Hey,
No,
yeah,
bro.
little kids don't listen to niggas that's not out here doing something that they don't respect or
Right.
admire.
Right, like
That's fair.
Right.
Like
So
if AC Green would have came to me in the league and said, you know what you need to do is stay celibate until after you get out the NBA. I looked at his ass like he was crazy and walked away from him and tapped my home like, this nigga tripping, Joe.
That was based.
Because that was not.
He was a virgin his whole career.
But I think,
and then the other end of the spectrum,
but
you got
Marcus,
niggas like Kareem
I
hitting
think you would look at
3,000
him.
kicks.
It's realistic. I'm
But
speaking
Marcus,
realistic.
I would think you look at him different because he was devoted to his religion, and not many people could be that devout. So it was more than just being a virgin.
At this age, because remember, we in a time capsule. I'm going back to the age of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Okay.
I would not have respected that. I would have
Like
thought
you
that
tripping.
was weird. And thought he was gay. Like he probably gay and pretending like he not. That's why he don't want no women. He don't even want to get a beard type shit. At this age, I could be like, okay, I can appreciate your discipline to your religion. At that age, absolutely not.
So
absolutely.
real talk, do y'all give out advice to I mean, there's surface level shit or whatever, but when it comes to that type of conversation, I'm not talking to kids about relations like that unless we have that type of bond, right? Where I understand that they have some type of respect for me and all that, right? So we're not talking to random people that be like, oh, this motherfucker crazy. Like he's gonna take heed to what it is that you would say. Randoms about sex?
Yes. What the
Hey, as a 41-year-old man, I'm not about to randomly talk to no young boy about sex.
Listen, y'all tripping. Look, we have our sons and our nephews. Are y'all saying y'all rhetoric, y'all messaging is only for
cousins and
your sons, nephews, or maybe your friends, kids, or whatever? It's not, oh, the little kids, when you at the basketball court and these little niggas run up, you don't have a message for them because you don't know them, so we ain't talking to them?
Look,
yeah, you can get in trouble for shit like that.
You get in trouble? Come on.
Yes,
I don't think
you
that's
will. Yeah, you can. For randoms, talking about talking to random children about sex and get you in trouble.
This is important. See, what everybody's saying is important because this is one of the obstacles I think that men actually have in making an impact in the community, because especially when it comes to dealing with children, there's like this stigma of like what's appropriate and inappropriate, especially with men. And as you can
that's
see,
real shit.
That's a lot. They don't feel comfortable even having a conversation.
Why was you talking to him about that?
But essentially, truthfully, who else should a kid get that from besides someone with that level of wisdom? So it's like, so it's like we have it. But if they don't have a father, which we know many boys in the community don't have a father,
right?
Where else would they get that advice from? That what other man that age would they know? You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like
a situation that makes sense.
Clout.
It's like a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because I can see why someone would see it as inappropriate, but at the same time, it's like there are some young boys that need that information.
Look, I went by my people's house like 3 weeks ago, Clout, right? And one of the shorties pulled up. He doing well in life. He doing well for himself. And he gonna tell me, and Joe, you a legend. I remember when you told me if I get shot, I won't survive. I'm too frail. I forgot I told him that. He said that shit stuck with him and helped change the trajectory of his life. It's things that being relatable and being able to talk to somebody in a way that they understand for their specific situation. You have to be able to do that or they're going to ignore you. And good, bad, or indifferent, validity of you having either survived, lived around, or lived through some of that shit helps. And to go tell kids to be virgins and none of us was virgins until 22 and make it like it's hypocritical. And it's not going to work for the most part.
Hey, but
for the most part.
It's not really hypocritical because we're using wisdom that we've earned by life experience and by having not done it. So we know what happens. We know what happens when you don't do it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just speaking from experience. I think in most situations where someone is speaking from experience and telling somebody to not do something that they've done, you kind of, maybe get a pass from that hypocritical piece.
How do we know that? So we got a kid or a young man in the space right now that's a virgin, right? He's in his early 30s.
Okay.
How do we know that being a virgin isn't the thing that's, according to him, it's hindered his relationships as moving forward? Because like, how do we know being a virgin is the answer for young men? Like, how do we know for sure that if we do that, that's the best advice to help them on their trajectory? How do we know that? It's not wisdom because we didn't live through it as virgins to know, hey, this is successfully how it goes. What I do know is the man who lived how every married man on this panel lived, that shit worked for you.
I got a question. If all of us could go back, if all of us could go back, would we take that advice? Would we not have sex until 22? Is that what we would do?
I would.
I might. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't have. Yeah.
I would.
That's
I
not.
Honestly, I might have started a little early.
there ain't. So I got a question about that.
If I can go back knowing what I know now, I might have started a little earlier, keeping it in stack with you.
So anybody who two questions, right? So I'll start with you, Marcus, because you definitely just made the point. Do you think pussy made you? And secondly, your particular wife, do you think that she would accept you as you are, if you didn't have so many encounters?
So pussy didn't make me, but it definitely changed me. And two, I don't think I would have been able to get the type of wife I got right now if I wasn't the type of nigga I am. And that comes through the experience that I got.
Sex. So you're countless.
It's all encompassing.
Encounters.
This is a damn
sex.
shame.
It's all encompassing.
Obtain your wife.
It did help me because
okay. So let's get back. Let's get back to the real question then. So what age should boys start having sex?
In their late teens, it's cool.
In their late what?
Late teens, it's fine.
When they're ready.
Hold on, I couldn't hear.
I think that's a better answer, but if we could put it on the late teens.
Hold on. Okay, we got two answers. When they're ready, and what was your answer, real dope?
I like Clout's answer. Whenever you feel comfortable, but however, if we could put a number on it, I think late teens is fine.
What's late teens?
17,
18.
Okay,
I'm gonna say when they can afford it.
Okay, hold on. So watch this. Let me ask y'all a question. So, is there any responsibility that comes with having sex?
Yes.
What is it?
To wear condoms.
Okay.
Protecting yourself and your partner.
Wait. Okay, so we know protection. What else?
Make sure she busted that too.
Being responsible for whatever children are produced.
So if children are conceived, are you responsible at 17 to take care of them?
Listen.
No,
there's some 17-year-olds out there.
I don't think a 17-year-old is optimally going to raise a child.
Simple question. Okay, so let's look, gentlemen. We got to talk. Okay, look.
I think it depends on the 17-year-old.
Let's talk and let's act like we got a group of. We're on a panel and we're at a high school and in the auditorium and it's all 16-year-olds in the auditorium. So 14, 15, 16, 17, maybe some 18-year-olds because they're in high school. Let's speak with that in mind. So, are we going to encourage these kids to become sexually active while they're in high school?
No, we're not going to encourage that.
Okay, so let's get this teenage shit out of our head unless it's 18 out of high school and 19. Maybe we can then consider it then. But let's not even be considering kids having sex when they're still in high school.
So you're saying if we would encourage, of course we're not going to encourage anybody to have sex. That doesn't having sex doesn't benefit anybody. If you guide them on how to do it, you may think, "Oh, I'm not encouraging that." Nigga, they gonna think you are encouraging it.
Well, I don't think it's that. I think it's more so preparing them for what they're probably gonna do anyway.
Right, and you shouldn't prepare them for what they probably going. You should scare the shit out of them. Hey, look, nigga, you about to.
So what would you do if you're someone to be a gangbanger and he really was going to do that shit?
You know, I don't agree with that because 9 times out of 10, when you try to scare people out of some shit, they end up doing that shit. You know what I'm saying?
And they don't talk to you about it.
For example, I'm gonna give you a perfect example, right?
Hold on for 1 second, Clout. Trev just had a point just to counter that. Go ahead.
So if you're someone to be a D-boy or just bang, right? Pause. What are you advising them? Are you telling them the right way to do the wrong thing, or are you going to try to stop him from doing that altogether?
You asking me?
Yeah.
If I find that my son is going down that path, I'm gonna tell him all the negatives associated with that path. I'm gonna tell him why he shouldn't do it, why I don't want him to do it, why it's a bad idea. But at the same time, if I know him and I know he gonna do it anyway, I'm gonna be like, but listen, if you go and do certain shit, Don't take the drugs to school. Don't stash it here. Watch for police. Don't have the drugs and money in the same place. Like, if you're gonna do the dumb shit anyway, I might as well give you the keys to success. So this is my whole thing.
Well,
My whole thing. Hold on. Hear me out. My whole thing is on giving people tools and then allowing them to make a decision with the tools. I'm not saying go out here and sell dope. I'm telling you it's a bad decision. I'm telling you it's a bad decision, right?
Clout. If you give me the tools, that's just like you telling me it's okay to do it.
I disagree with that. I'm gonna give you a perfect example why I disagree with that, right? Growing up, all the kids whose parents told them not to drink, ended up drinking, ended up throwing wild parties, sneaking alcohol. A lot of them had alcohol trouble. I never had an issue with alcohol. Why I never had an issue with alcohol? Because my parents allowed me to taste alcohol at home from a very young age.
Facts.
So from a very young age, because I was so accustomed to seeing alcohol bottles, and I knew that if I really wanted to try it, I could just ask my mom and she pour me a little something for a taste. And also, I'm Jamaican, so whenever I got sick, my mom would put like rum and honey and orange juice together. So I got used to the taste of rum. I was never thirsty for it. A lot of my friends fiend out. As soon as they went to college, they were drunk at every party, fiend out, and I never had that issue because
that's different.
I was educated about alcohol, so I didn't have this what's the word? Curiosity about it. No, I didn't have a curiosity because I knew about it already. I knew what it did. I knew how it tasted. I knew where it was. I knew what it smelled like. Whereas the kids who never got to touch it, they're like, "Ooh, I want to experience it. I want to taste it. I want to see what's it going to be like if I mix it with this. What's it going to taste like if I mix it with this? How drunk can I get?" And now these kids got alcohol problems.
Same thing with guns.
But that's different.
Kids see guns
but that's
all the
different
time.
from somebody having sex, and it's different from something else. I mean, you can taste it and it still be like a lower consequence. But if you was to go tell your child to go smash somebody raw and then bust them, that's a higher consequence.
Who was doing that?
All right. All right, let's be realistic here, though. We know kids. We know kids. We know people. Do y'all really think saying to kids, "Don't do this," that works?
Yeah,
that's what works because it.
Yes, if they respect you as a parent.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you. I want to ask y'all a question and see if y'all know this off of the top of your head.
It's not a guarantee.
What's the stereotype? What is the most common stereotype about preachers' daughters or private school girls?
They're whores.
Bust down.
Okay. Y'all all answered that immediately. Immediately, y'all knew that the answer was they're whores. Y'all knew that. Why?
I think
because they lack the balance. They lack the balance, and they're too strict on them because they're still doing something wrong.
What you're saying does not work.
No,
when they're scared,
because they're doing too much.
When they're given strict boundaries and not given the education and scared out of it, what do?
So for me, because I got my son, he's 20. So for me, when I have conversations with him,
man, your kid is grown.
Yeah. So like the conversation that I have with him now is that I'm giving him a little bit more context so he can get the understanding. I'm gonna say, hey, I don't want you to do this, and here's why. I'm also going to use myself as an example as to how I got myself in these situations. So I'm trying to paint a better picture for him. There's no guarantee, but I'm speaking off experiences to say, hey, this is probably not going to work for you, and here's why. When I attempted to do this or when I did this, these were the results. You could do what you want to do, but this is what I did. I would have been so much further ahead if I would have did X, Y, and Z. These are the consequences for my actions when I did this, but you're grown. You're going to do what you want to do. So I think when you give them a little bit more context, when you make sure they have an understanding, I think you have a better chance. But nothing in life is a guarantee. Even the advice that we give is not a guarantee. But if I had to lean one way, it would be an attempt to steer him more so this way. And by kind of giving him a little bit more like information about it and not just saying, don't do it.
I had to buy my son a plan B once. He hit me for some money and was like, hey, I need to get a plan B. I'll say, hey, if you fucking and you can't afford your plan B, you already doing something wrong. But we handled it, got the situation addressed. And then afterwards, I sent him what I pay in child support so he could understand like what he could be doing. And everything, I listed everything he asked me for. He want a track hawk, he want all this crazy shit, he want to bust down all this stuff. I'm like, that's what I have to pay for you every year. And this is what can happen to you. And you'll be doing it for 18 years. You got 18 years of that little 10, 15-minute sex you had. It's probably gonna cost you $300,000-$400,000 over the 18 years. That's if you make average money. So you done had sex for 15 minutes, and now it's gonna cost you $400,000 out your pocket. Plus, you know what I'm saying, some extra shit because you do more than what you're supposed to do. You pay more than your child support, you still do birthdays, all the rest of that shit. So you might be a half a ticket in, all because you had sex for 10, 15 minutes. That's damn near $50,000 an hour. I mean, $50,000 a minute for you to get some pussy. Once I showed him that, I can see that he moves differently with his girlfriend now. Like, I see that he moves differently. And
so Will, you just dropped some game, right? I just want to add one quick thing. You just dropped some game, Willie, and what you said was a jewel, where you just said, like, yo, if you can't afford a plan B, you're already messing up. All I'm saying is that I feel as though that conversation should have been said before he needed the plan B. Like, if you said those exact words to him before he ever needed a plan B, he probably might not have ever needed a plan B. Or he would have made sure that he had some money for a plan B before he was fucking. But I doubt that you was willing to have that conversation with him at that time, because you didn't want to feel like you was encouraging him. But that's some game he could have used before it was too late.
That's how I found out he was fucking. This is how I found
out. That's what I'm saying. That conversation gotta be had with him. But I'm saying, let's have these conversations with these brothers, with these kids before they're fucking. They need to have conversations about, like, they need to know, hey, you're a certain age. Your body's going to change. You're going to start having these feelings. You're going to desire these things. This is what you're going to go through. I've been there. We've all been there, but nobody has these conversations with them. They just have raging hormones.
We have the conversations, bro. But what I did was I had the conversation as a concept, because until you, and most people don't show the consequence of that concept becoming reality. So when he knew about child support, he's seen, like, I tell him, like, no, I'm not sending you nothing else because I don't want to. Like, just to be, because I'm trying to get him to understand the value of $1. But showing him, like, sitting down, going to my bank account and showing him all these, wires every month for what I have to send his mom, he's like, Dad, that's a lot of money. And then he was thinking, well, damn, she don't give me all of that. But that was a whole separate conversation. But I'm like, but this is what happens when you have unprotected sex. Regardless, like, yes, me and your mother were married, right? We were married when we had you, when we conceived one for you and your brother. We were married, so no problem, right? But the end result of me fucking your mother for however long it was this money that I have to spend. Like, understand that, you were an accident. You're my favorite accident ever. But son, if you run around here sticking your dick in these little girls, imagine what happens if I leave you some money when I die. Then she's gonna be able to go get that money. Or you say you're gonna hit whatever business you want to get off the ground. Cool. She's gonna be able to be in your pockets for 10 minutes of busting a nut. And I had to show it to him, and then him seeing it is what made him move differently. I talked to him till I'm blue in the face, but showing him and, like, giving him something to touch, like, go in the safe, get cash. This is how much money I give your mother a year for you. This is how much money I give your mother for your brother. Put that together. Are you willing to risk having to spend money like this just so you can have sex whenever you want to, unprotected, without consequence, protection or any sort of other responsibility? If yes, go ahead and do it. If not, I'm not buying you no more fucking plan Bs. And he has moved differently since.
Well, look.
So what Clout was saying, what Will was saying, and what Jal was saying, I can give her. I agree with that, right? My thing is, outside of the worst case scenarios, because we all talking about you can get an STD, you can get XYZ. I feel like we having this conversation very disingenuous, because we acting as if the men who just abstain and become chaste and wait till they 25 virgins, they even
can't catch
STD. Wait, hold on. Why you throw 3 more years on there, Marcus?
Okay, 22.
I think 22 too young.
Y'all acting like we don't exist in a you have to go out and attract women market. Like,
okay, you don't. We don't live in that market. What are you talking about?
Okay, you got it.
So watch this. Look. Okay. I'm gonna tell you how I taught my daughter, or at least what I tried to teach her. Shit, I don't know if it's stuck. Kids lie to us all the damn time. We find out sometimes, like, damn, I taught you better than that.
We lucky you find out.
Yeah. So
sure.
My daughter's about to turn 20. So I'm right there with JR. And I have one that's 15. Damn, the message has been to them for the last 6 years. So I started preaching this message to her when she turned around 14. I said, look, there's 3 things I want you to do everything in your power to avoid. I said, you can't come back from these 3 things. So that's why I want you to do everything in your power to avoid. Don't have any unplanned pregnancies. Don't get any STDs or don't get any felonies. If you avoid those 3 things, most other things you can restore yourself. You can come back from, there's pitfalls we fall into, we fall, we get back up. But those 3 things, they stain you. They like a bad tattoo that's visible for the world to see that you really can't hide it, right?
Hey, wait, let me ask you a question. Would you rather your 16-year-old son come home and tell you he's gay, or your 16-year-old daughter tell you she's pregnant?
My 16-year-old daughter tell me she's pregnant.
All right.
Listen, 14 is still, in my opinion.
I don't got no sons, by the way. All my daughters, all my kids are girls.
14 in my opinion is too late. 14 is too late because you got to remember, no. I don't know what world y'all are living in, right? But
wait, hold on.
We live in a world of TikTok. We live in a world of Instagram. We live in a world where pornography is accessible.
Yes,
by the click of a button.
Yes, Clout. This isn't the first time I had sex talks with her. I'm talking about this is when I started pushing this rhetoric of STDs, felonies, and pregnancies. So the first time I ever had to talk to my daughter about sex was she was 8. Because a little girl showed her something on the phone, like you said.
Oh shit.
So I was forced to have the conversation with her. Because the phone, she didn't show my daughter something. Yeah, she showed my daughter something on her phone, and then she took my daughter's phone and said, "This was." Now my daughter's blaming the girl, right? Which maybe my daughter was the person that showed the girl. Who knows? But when I saw in the web history, I was like, "What the fuck?" So I had to have a conversation with my daughter because I knew she was exposed to it. How she got exposed to it, that's a mystery. But so I do believe you need to start having conversations sooner than most of us have them, and most of us don't want to have these conversations. And the worst part about it is we're not trained on how to have these conversations. So when we are having these conversations, we're doing what makes sense to us. Whether it's effective or not, we don't know. We do what we're comfortable with, and most of us are not comfortable. So we take the less evasive approach. We try to talk as much on the surface as possible without going deep. We don't like to ask questions because we don't really want to know what they've done and what they haven't done. And I'm not blaming anybody for not probing deeper or, because it's not easy. And not only is it not easy, but we don't necessarily know what to ask or what to say. So these niggas can't even tell me what they'll say to a 16-year-old. So I know they don't know what the hell
we
to
need
say.
to tell.
We need to
tell.
We
done told you all to have sex. We not to watch porn either.
Too big.
Like I think we need to tell kids not to watch porn either, because porn will fuck up kids. I'm saying.
Hold on, Will. So look, I'm just saying. Look, at the end of the day, you tell your kids what you tell them, but I think kids need to have like the Scrooge McDuck experience. You know how he went in time and he saw himself. He saw all these different experiences with the ghost of Christmas past and all that. Like I literally sit my daughters down and I say, look, you have to use your eyes and your ears, and you have to start observing people, the people that's in your life, your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your aunties, your grandma, grandpa. Like we all have made decisions in our lives, and those decisions that we've made has us where we are in life. Some of the people that you align yourself with, family or no family, have made terrible decisions in life. And if you don't start paying attention to where people are and then reverse engineer that and try to figure out how they got to where they are, that's how you're going to figure out what good decisions to make and what decisions are bad. I can tell you all day long, don't do this or do that. You're not going to necessarily listen to it. It's going to go through one ear and out the other. But analyze my life. Look at my life and say, ooh, I like where my dad's at. Or no, I don't like where my dad's at. If you don't like where I'm at, you're probably not going to listen to what I have to say. So you have to find out, because, oftentimes we are not the people that our kids confide in. Our kids confide in people that they trust, and we're not always the people that they trust. But I don't want my kids just confiding in people because they're comfortable with them, because that comfort is oftentimes the Achilles heel of people making bad decisions. You need to find people who have structurally set their lives up in ways that you admire, and then get some information from them and in conjunction with the information I give you and the people that you're comfortable with, you have to get a cumulative understanding of decisions that people have made in life. Use that to the best of your ability to discern and make better decisions in life. Because I could tell my kids everything that I believe is right, and I can tell you my kids are probably not going to do 90% of what I tell them. I just believe that kids don't listen to their parents as much as we hope they do. Kids listen to people. They'll listen to a damn celebrity on the internet. Like you said, we got TikTok, we got Instagram, we got all these influencers. These influencers, their voice speaks loudly. So that's why I tell y'all, if we're influencers, I don't know, I'm not no influencer, but for the people who get on these panels who claim to be influencers, people are listening to you. Your losing ass rhetoric is going to keep them losers losing. Your rhetoric is not the rhetoric you necessarily follow. Make sure that you're telling people the real. Look, motherfucker, and tell them what it is. Y'all, some losing ass niggas making some losing ass decisions. Here's what I suggest you do. Now they're going to take some of it and some of it they're going to discard. It just is what it is. That's why I be getting on Marcus and them, because Marcus my dog, but Marcus be too nice. Trev be too nice. Cloud be busting them in their face. Willie be busting them in the face. Real dope just be trying to be cool and be their damn friend, like he gonna get invited to the barbecue. Nigga, they ain't inviting you to the barbecue.
You know what's another thing I think that's important, Will?
The fact that you said let's exist in reality after y'all, man, y'all, if you don't get your ass out of here, Will.
So you saying what I just said is wrong?
Test determined that was a lie.
Like,
you saying
crazy, bro?
You saying what I just said is wrong?
What you said this whole segment that I've been keeping it real. Willie been keeping it like
no. I didn't say Ben. I said they do like they normally. I think Cloud be keeping it real. He be busting people in the face. Willie be keeping it real, busting people in the face. I think you and Trev, and I've been telling y'all this since day one. I think you and Trev too nice. Like I've been trying to get that questions answered. Trevor always throw something in there. And I'm like, Trev, let these niggas answer my damn question.
Man,
real dope.
Trev be keeping it real. He just does it in a politically correct way.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It's just a little bit more diplomatic, but I think we get our points across. I think people.
No, y'all not getting y'all points. You get your points across to people like me who understand what you're saying, but these losing ass niggas don't know what you're talking about. Real dope. I know they.
Yeah, the point. You have to have a certain level of intellect to get what Trevor's really putting down.
Ain't nobody get nothing from real dope. I think real dope got good sense in his head, but ain't nobody getting nothing from real dope. He too nice.
I keep it a book.
Shit.
You think I be calling niggas I be calling nice soft and all that on Instagram. They think I'm mean.
Don't nobody think you mean, nigga.
Did you not see how I did Kenny backstage, or how I do Paul on the other show? Like, I'm not I'm nice to girls. Just I'm not nice to niggas. I ain't supposed to be.
It just depends on the topic we talking about. You just ain't getting
iron sharpen iron type shit.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Hold on, y'all. Let me get these super chats right quick, man, so we can close it out. Though Will 999 also member said, let's call a spade a spade. If K. Michelle got wifed by Nashville white dude, she wouldn't be crying crocodile tears about the black family. She's full of it and looking for a life raft prophecy. Also remember 36 months shaking my head, and this is during men's mental health month. We can't get a break. Black men are always the problem. I guess this is diabolical. John Henry $10 says, girl, please, black men aren't out here making babies unless a woman gives him access to slide through with no condom. She's ignoring the culpability women share when pregnancy occurs. John Henry again, $10. Trev, man, don't run around getting women pregnant. Women make the choice to have unprotected sex fully knowing a guy won't wear a condom. She is culpable for her decision due to being an adult. John, again, $10. Hink, let them know. Thumbs up emoji. This young male foolery of thinking their sense of control determines the decision she makes for herself. It's the stuff acrimony and pregnancy thrive on. Put on a damn condom. John, again, with the $10 says children are created. Huh?
Is that supposed to be alimony or acrimony? It was acrimony.
Acrimony. Appreciate it, Cloud. Thank you. Children are created during casual sex when neither birth control nor condoms are used. Let's not make this an adolescent goof troop circular conversation. Damn, fellas. John again with the $10 says to the ladies watching the show, would you be offended if a guy wanted to wear a condom? Condoms is how Gen Xers born between 1965 and 1980 rode out to the party. Got Brian with the 99 cent super sticker. John, $10. What he's trying to say is, Travis, that your message is not being heard by the people who need to hear it. The panelists don't believe the manner your message is framed on.
Behave.
Well, I said something wrong?
You said believe. You said the men on the panel don't behave.
Okay, don't believe. Okay. It's late, man. Down here with $5. And the screen is wide, so you right up on this, mom.
Yeah.
Step back and look at his entirety. Brono Kenny's background is a well-known picture which made me more famous due to the 70s TV show Good Times. Peace, folks. Brono with the $5 super sticker. Mills, $2. Just stay single, fellas. 100 emoji at Cloud. Brono with the 99 super sticker.
That's crazy. That's
Brono
crazy.
And lastly, D Rob also member $10. It's all on us, men. Keep pushing that ism, fellas. I want to thank everybody has contributed to the platform today. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel on the way out. Anybody want to say anything quick? 30 seconds before we get up out of here.
Yeah, I got to close and I'll go last. Maybe let these fellas say it. I'll be 30 seconds.
I'll say that I think there's a balance, right? I think if we all delivered it the same way, it would be tough for us to communicate. We all come from different walks of life, right? And I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way to deliver a message, as long as it resonates. And we could all have our opinions about that, but you gotta do what works for you.
I think Will just be a contrarian, and he mad that me and Trev Point get across smooth because we got so much. And secondly, I think that people are forgetting what it was like to be 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and forgetting how people function socially around those ages. And that there are cool niggas, lame niggas, and there are niggas who don't get women, and there are niggas who have women, and there's something that flows through those things that are consistent. Like other people who get women know other men who get women and they click up and they can get the woman they want, and the men who don't get women can't get the woman they want, nor most other women. And to act like that's not real is blowing my mind right now.
Stop telling kids the only thing they got to worry about from fucking is a baby or STD. Child support is real. I think that'll scare more young men than most STDs will, because they'll say, well, STDs can be cured for the most part. You start showing them how much time and opportunity they'll lose, it may make them look at it different.
Great point.
That's a baby.
I think one of the main things we gotta tell our kids is we gotta tell them about their friends. Like I listened to my mom when my mom told me never use always use a condom if I'm having sex with a girl. And I used the condom all the way out, and I started hanging out with my homies too.
Makes some sense.
He had a Freudian slip. That man said, my mama told me never use a condom.
I'll wait for you. I'll wait.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, my mom told me always use a condom, and I did for a long time. And so my friends were just like, no, I don't use condoms. And eventually I took it off at one point, and I felt comfortable taking it off at one point. And that just shows you that you got to tell your kids about their friends and what they're going to run into. That's one of the main things that I think we got to teach our kids about, is that you're going to run, your friends are going to be stupid, and they're going to tell you some things that'll be different than what I tell you. But like, we're wise, so we've been down that road, so we can kind of like almost predict the future to them. So I think that's part of what we got to kind of tell them. And somebody said in the comments that I'm somebody who just, I stick to my opinions, and that's not what I do. I think it's my job to tell you what I currently believe, and I will push back on what I as I see fit. But at the same time, my goal is always to learn. So it's my hope that somebody can teach me something if I'm having a conversation with them. And if you can, teach, kind of curb my perspective, that's awesome. But you gotta do the work. You gotta curb my perspective. I'm not just gonna if your perspective doesn't defeat mine, or we haven't hashed it out, then I'm not gonna change my perspective until that's done. But yeah.
Well, look, I just wanted to say two things. I want to say something about this K Michelle thing. So,
Damn, I forgot we was talking about her.
no. So she said black women are being copied. I'm like, being copied by who? And for the people who are allegedly copying black women, are these women getting results? Because it would be sad that they're copying black women getting results and black women can't get the results from the things that they're being copied to do. I think that's wild. So first of all, that's a flat out lie. Last point I'll make is it's funny how black women hate when men are of the mind of not proposing. Oh, men, so men need to create homes, they need to get wild, get married, blah, blah, blah. They hate when men won't propose, but for some reason they don't hate divorce. They'll divorce your ass so fast. They'll divorce you at the blink of an eye. They love divorce, but they hate not being proposed to. Crazy.
Mic drop.
And Marcus, shut your ass up.
Man, I got enough. Man, I know what I'm talking about because I talk to these shorties. And y'all go spin them and have them fucked up. I'm telling you, telling them to stick with. All right, cut the mic off so I can tell this story, JR. Turn the line off so I can tell you exactly.
I can't listen to nothing that's 6.
Yeah, just make sure y'all have an open mind for growth.
Ass nigga.
Have an open mind for growth your entire life. You can never get too much information and too much game. So make sure y'all just have open mind to be able to receive it. And on that note,